The Priestess's time travel. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1026, The Immortal Cultivation Story of the Marquis's Daughter. Because of what Yizayachi said, no one dared to attack Yizayachi anymore. Yizayachi chuckled, and then he pinched his hands to activate the 10,000 blood sacrifice formation. Everyone hurriedly retreated, still worried that the 10,000 blood sacrifice formation would use them as sacrifices. Yizayachi sneered, and heard everyone's ears full of ridicule. The monks were furious, but they didn't dare to show it. Fortunately, the 10,000 blood sacrifice formation really did not plunder the lives and flesh of the monks as Yizayachi said, but plundered energy from the 7 artifacts and the Demon Lord. The Demon Lord struggled hard in the light net, but he had no way out. He could only watch his cultivation being absorbed. When his cultivation was absorbed, his flesh and blood and life would be absorbed. Things change. He used to use those righteous monks as sacrifices, but now he has become a sacrifice. The Demon Lord was unwilling, but what could he do? He couldn't escape the shackles of the 10,000 blood sacrifice formation. The Demon Lord suddenly spoke. Is it that person who taught you to reshape the Ascension Channel? Who? Yizayachi was puzzled. Demon Lord, it was the person who taught me to use the 10,000 blood sacrifice formation. Yizayachi shook her head blankly. I don't know him. The Demon Lord snorted. Don't pretend. If that person didn't teach you, how could you know to use the 10,000 blood sacrifice formation to reshape the Ascension Channel? You are a junior. I am afraid you don't even know what the Ascension Channel is. Yizayachi said, if you haven't seen it, then you haven't seen it. I'm not pretending. The Demon Lord questioned, then how did you know that using me and the 7 artifacts as sacrifices can activate the 10,000 blood sacrifice formation to reshape the Ascension Channel? Yizayachi, I saw it in an ancient book. Demon Lord, which ancient book did you see? Where did you see it? Why did no one else see it for thousands of years, but you saw it? Yizayachi was speechless. She couldn't say that she saw it in the ancient book in the space, right? Would that expose the fact that she had a fairy weapon? Yizayachi didn't answer, but the Demon Lord seemed to see through her and sneered. It's just a puppet that's worse than me. What do you mean? Yizayachi was angry, and a sense of uneasiness rose in her heart. The Demon Lord showed a mocking expression to Yizayachi and said, how long are you going to hide? Now that the Ascension Channel is about to be rebuilt, you still don't come out. Don't you want to return to the fairyland? As soon as the Demon Lord finished speaking, Yizayachi's eyes were straight, and the aura on her body began to change. This performance, no matter how you look at it, it seems that she has been possessed by someone. Niangniang was shocked and shouted, Yizayachi. Niangniang rushed towards Yizayachi, but saw Yizayachi raised his hand and launched an attack, knocking Niangniang out. The cultivators were shocked. He actually knocked out a great man in the god transformation stage with one move. How powerful must a person who possessed Yizayachi be? The expression on Yizayachi's face has changed. He is high above and regards all the cultivators as ants. The Demon Lord laughed out loud. It turned out to be you. That little girl is as miserable as me, and she was completely used by you. Not only did you use the 10,000 people blood sacrifice array to reshape the Ascension Channel, you even spared our flesh and blood. I became the sacrifice of the 10,000 people blood sacrifice array, and this little girl's body became your container. Yizayachi snorted disdainfully, it is your honor to sacrifice for me. Who are you? Get out of Yizayachi's body. Give Yizayachi back to me. Niangniang Lord climbed up from the rubble, flew into the air to confront Yizayachi, and roared angrily. Yizayachi looked at Niangniang with disdain. Yizayachi was able to have the strength for a few days because of what I gave her. Otherwise, how could a waste of 5 spiritual roots be stronger than a genius with heavenly spiritual roots? Now I want to take it back. Yizayachi used the benefits I gave her but couldn't repay me, so she can only give me her body as compensation. It's a fair trade, and the heavenly Dao didn't say anything? What qualifications do you have to ask me to get out? Yizayachi's voice became cold. You should get out. Don't appear in front of me again, otherwise I will be merciless and kill you directly. Niangniang was extremely angry and immediately attacked Yizayachi. However, Because he took into account that the body belonged to Yixiaoqi, Niangniang held back. But Yixiaoqi did not hold back at all. This time, Yixiaoqi used more force. Niangniang was not only knocked out, but also seriously injured. Niangniang ignored his serious injuries and rushed forward again, but was held tightly by Niangniang. Are you kidding? That person is so strong. If Niangniang rushes over, he will only die. If he angers that person, he may vent his anger on Xianai sect, or even the entire cultivation world, and kill all the cultivators on the scene. Judging from the fact that he took out the 10,000 blood sacrifice formation for the demon lord to implement, this person is not a soft-hearted person. The head of the sect also joined the ranks of blocking Niangniang. When the two of them attacked together, Niangniang could not resist. Now Niangniang is even stronger than Niangniang. Niangniang still deeply felt that he had been surpassed by his junior brother without realizing it. Over the years, he has been with Yixiaoqi and neglected cultivation, and has been left behind by his junior brother. He is no longer the number one in Xianai sect. No wonder other people's attitudes towards him have changed. Niangniang was upset, and a ball of evil fire rose in his heart, not knowing how to vent it. This ball of fire is getting stronger and stronger, and it is possible that he will eventually go crazy. It all depends on him. Without Niangniang interrupting, Yixiaoqi started chatting with the demon lord. The demon lord's cultivation had also reached its limit, and he had no strength to speak anymore, so it was Yixiaoqi who was talking. Perhaps because her goal had been achieved, Yixiaoqi told everything without hiding anything, including her origins and Yixiaoqi's affairs. This Yixiaoqi was originally an immortal in the fairy world, named Kwei Fairy. At the beginning, there was a war in the fairy world, and the immortals fought in a group. Kwei Fairy was seriously injured, her immortal body was destroyed, and only her immortal soul was left. In order to save her immortal soul, Kwei Fairy had to pay a great price to leave the fairy world and run to the cultivation world for recuperation. She wanted to wait until the war in the fairy world was over before returning to the fairy world. However, what she didn't expect was that the ascension channel between the two worlds was affected by the battle and was interrupted. Without the ascension channel, Kwei Fairy could not return to the fairy world. The spiritual energy of the cultivation world was not very effective in recuperating her immortal soul, and it was far inferior to the recuperation effect of the immortal energy. If Fairy Kwei could not return to the fairyland, her soul would never recover and eventually dissipate. Therefore, Fairy Kwei had to find a way to reshape the ascension channel and return to the fairyland. The demon lord was the first chess piece she found. Whether it was a mortal or a cultivator, they were all ants in front of the immortal, so Fairy Kwei took out a blood sacrifice array of 10,000 people without any worries. Chapter 1027, The Immortal Cultivation Story of the Marquis's Daughter. Fairy Kwei didn't take the lives of the cultivators seriously, but the cultivators cherished their lives, so they united to fight against the demon lord, which made Fairy Kwei's plan fail. Fairy Kwei's soul was injured again because of this, and she had to hide in the only immortal weapon she brought down to sleep. That immortal weapon was Yixiaoqi's Linquent Space. Although the Linquent Space was an immortal weapon, there was no immortal energy in it. It was the product of Fairy Kwei's failure to refine the weapon. Therefore, although Fairy Kwei recovered faster in this Linquent Space than outside, it was not much faster. It took nearly 5,000 years to heal the injury on her soul. She had been sleeping in the Linquent Space until Yixiaoqi picked it up. Yixiaoqi's aptitude was actually very good, which was the Chaos 5 spiritual roots, but it was hidden. If she didn't develop it, she would always be a waste. Fairy Kwei had a way to stimulate Yixiaoqi's Chaos 5 spiritual roots. As soon as she saw Yixiaoqi, she had the idea of taking over his body. On the surface, Yixiaoqi seemed to have recognized the Linquent Space as its master, but the actual master was still Fairy Kwei. Fairy Kwei used the Linquent Space to induce Yixiaoqi, leading her to follow the script prepared by Fairy Kwei step by step, allowing Yixiaoqi to steal the immortal weapon, restart the blood sacrifice formation of 10,000 people, and reshape the ascension channel. When everything was completed smoothly, she took over Yixiaoqi's body and went directly to the fairyland along the ascension channel. As for Yixiaoqi, Fairy Kwei did not devour Yixiaoqi's soul because she helped her, but squeezed her soul out of her body. Seeing Niangniang staring at her with red eyes and hatred, Fairy Kwei sneered. You are an infatuated one. Since you like your little apprentice so much, I'll give her back to you." After saying that, she grabbed Yixiaqi's soul with her left hand. Fairy Kwei threw Yixiaqi's soul towards Niangniang, and Niangniang quickly cast a spell to catch Yixiaqi's soul. A closer look revealed that Yixiaqi's soul was in a daze. Even if she found a body to take over and revive, she would only be a fool if she came back to life. Niangniang felt a great pain in his heart. He trembled and took out a jade bottle from the storage space and put Yixiaqi's soul into it. He glared at Fairy Kwei again with hatred, but his sight posed no threat to Fairy Kwei. Fairy Kwei sneered, pinched the spiritual formula with her hand, and accelerated the absorption speed of the formation. The cultivators watched as the demon lord was sucked into a mummy by the formation, and then the body was broken into powder. The formation did not even let go of the powder and sucked it into it. The cultivators felt sympathetic. The once powerful demon lord did not even leave a trace. Everyone couldn't help but feel fortunate that the sacrifice was the demon lord, not them. The 7 artifacts had disappeared before the demon lord and turned into nutrients for the formation. At this moment, a golden light suddenly fell from the sky, covering the entire altar. Everyone could see a passage appearing in the golden light. The passage was originally only a small section, but it was repaired into a hole in a very short time, connecting directly from the altar to the sky. Seeing this passage appear, both Fairy Kwei and the people in the cultivation world were excited. Ascension Passage. The Ascension Passage has been reshaped, and everyone will have the opportunity to become an immortal in the future. Fairy Kwei laughed out loud. Finally, she could finally return to the immortal world. Fairy Kwei stepped onto the Ascension Passage and headed high into the sky. The cultivators looked at her figure with envy. However, just when Fairy Kwei was about to reach the end of the passage and step into the gate of the immortal world, I saw a flash of fireworks, and Fairy Kwei was shattered to pieces. Everyone was shocked. What's going on? Hasn't the Ascension Passage been repaired? Why does the immortal world still refuse people to enter? Is the Ascension Passage fake? The Ascension Passage is real. Su Qingni spoke to comfort her master, and the head of the sect and the people around Niangniang also heard her words. Su Qingni said, "Only immortals are allowed to enter the fairyland." Fairy Kwei took over Yixiaqi's body, but Yixiaqi was only at the foundation building stage. It was impossible for Fairy Kwei to use Yixiaqi's body to enter the fairyland. That's why she was shattered to pieces. Everyone nodded when they heard this, thinking that this was the case. Taoist Niangniang thought of a question and said, "Is Fairy Kwei's soul an immortal soul? Did she enter the fairyland or stay in the world of cultivation? If she stayed in the world of cultivation, would she take over another body?" Everyone's face changed when they heard this. They were not afraid of taking over another body. Fairy Kwei wanted a body with the best qualifications, and it had to be a female body, so she looked down on them. They were worried that Fairy Kwei would stay in the world of cultivation and continue to make trouble. Su Qingni said, "The immortal soul of Fairy Kwei should have been shattered along with Yixiaqi's body." Fairy Kwei first used the demon lord to create a blood sacrifice formation of 10,000 people, killing many cultivators, and owed too many karmas to the world of cultivation, and was stained with too many sins. She thought she could use the merits of reshaping the Ascension Channel to repay the karma, but she didn't think that the real executor of reshaping the Ascension Channel was Yixiaqi, not her. Yixiaqi was the one who contributed the most, and the merits also belonged to Yixiaqi. But Fairy Kwei took over Yixiaqi's body, which not only made her unable to gain merits, but also gained more sins. There was no thunder from the sky to help her split the karma and sins, so her immortal soul naturally could not return to the fairyland, but was scattered because of the rules of heaven. Merit? Karma? Karma? These 3 names sounded so noble that the cultivators had never heard of them. But those who heard them vaguely felt that these 3 terms were very important, and had a feeling in their hearts that if they could understand the meaning of these 3 words, they might have a greater chance of ascending. Su Qingni briefly explained to everyone what is merit, what is cause and effect, and what is karma. Su Qingni said, "The power of the thunder tribulation when a cultivator transcends the tribulation and ascends to heaven is determined by the cultivator's karma and merit. The thunder tribulation is half a test for the cultivator, and half is to split the cause and effect in the cultivator." The people who heard it were thoughtful, and some even fell into enlightenment. Among them were the head and Niangniang Venerable. Su Qingni quickly asked the disciples of Xianai's sect to help them protect the law. This speech was very inspiring to the high-level cultivators, but the low-level cultivators did not have much understanding due to their limited realm and knowledge. Zuano and Daozan did not have any understanding either. He was immersed in sadness, and his heart was full of Yixiachi. Even if Su Qingni was standing next to him, he did not listen to a single word. Jiao Ming had been taught by Su Qingni, and this time he also had an epiphany. Su Qingni saw that the aura on his body was rising little by little. It seemed that after this epiphany, Jiao Ming could form a golden elixir. Chapter 1028, The Immortal Cultivation Story of the Marquis's Daughter. Jiao Ming did not have an epiphany to form the elixir, because he had to go to the mortal world. The lower the cultivation level, the easier it is to pass through the barrier between the two worlds. After the matter of Fairy Kwei was settled, everyone returned to their respective sects. Daos and Zuanayan went into seclusion as soon as he came back. Although the sect leader had an epiphany, as the sect leader, there were many follow-up matters to deal with, so he could not go into seclusion immediately. There was no way, the sect leader could only deal with the matter first. After the matter was dealt with, he went into seclusion to make a breakthrough. Among the things that the sect leader had to deal with was the arrangement of Jing Changming. Jing Changming had become an ordinary person who could not practice, so naturally he could no longer stay in Xianai's sect. The sect leader only needed to expel Jing Changming from the sect and let him return to the mountain to fend for himself. But Jing Changming offended too many people when he assisted Yixiachi in stealing the artifact. Now that he had no cultivation level and no protection from Xianai's sect, Jing Changming would have no choice but to die if he went down the mountain. After all, he was his disciple, and they had been friends for decades. The sect leader didn't want Jing Changming, so he wanted to arrange for him to live in a safe place. There is no place in the world of cultivation that is safe for Jing Changming, so the headmaster thought of the mortal world. The barrier is not so easy to pass, and the cultivators cannot go to the mortal world to kill Jing Changming at a great cost. So the headmaster wanted to send two low-level disciples to send Jing Changming to the mortal world. He originally wanted to find two key refining disciples, but Jiao Ming volunteered after hearing the news. Jiao Ming wanted to go back to the mortal world to have a look. Although he was driven out of the house by his so-called relatives, he knew many people, and there were good people and some who had helped him. He wanted to go back and take back the family property. He naturally didn't care about the worldly property, but he would rather give these properties to other poor people in need than leave them to those so-called relatives. After hearing this, Su Qingni also decided to go back to the mortal world. In these years, she has not found the extremely yin land in the world of cultivation, and feels that the extremely yin land should still be in the mortal world. After all, the mortal world is the foundation of this world. The head of the sect was relieved to hand Jing Changming over to the two of them, and prepared a price for them to cross the barrier, without asking Jiao Ming and Su Qingni to pay the price themselves. The two happily thanked the head of the sect and left Xianai's sect with Jing Changming. Jing Changming was very decadent. His former youthful appearance now looked old and decadent, as if he had lost his soul. Jiao Ming couldn't help but sympathize with his senior brother. Thinking that this man became like this because of a woman, Jiao Ming became afraid of love and decided to practice hard like his master in the future and be a happy single dog. The three of them flew out of Xianai's sect and met Luo Yangxi not far away. It seemed that she was deliberately blocking them. Jiao Ming stopped the flying boat he was driving. The flying speed of the flying boat was slower than that of the flying sword, but because Jing Changming was immortal and could no longer fly the sword, they had to choose to take the flying boat. Luo Yangxi flew to the deck and stood still, saying to Jiao Ming and Su Qingni, "I want to say goodbye to senior brother Jing." Jiao Ming and Su Qingni walked to the other side of the flying boat tactfully, leaving the space for the two. However, the flying boat was very small, and the distance between the two sides was only 3 meters. Luo Yangxi did not set up a soundproof barrier, so Su Qingni and Jiao Ming could hear their voices. Luo Yangxi came to ridicule Jing Changming. She scanned Jing Changming up and down in a mocking manner and asked, "Do you regret it?" "Regret? Of course I regret it. How could the heir of a great cultivation sect not regret being reduced to mortal?" But he still had a little dignity as a man. Even if he would show his decadence and regret in front of Jiao Ming and Su Qingni, he would never show it in front of Luo Yangxi. Jing Changming just looked at Luo Yangxi indifferently, as if he was looking at a stranger. When Luo Yangxi saw his expression, he suddenly became angry and couldn't help but sarcastically open his mouth. full of ridicule of Jing Changming and Yi Zaichi, and even brought up Zuinitan Daozan. You don't know? Yi Zaichi and Zuinitan Daozan have been in love for a long time. You are just a poor guy used by Yi Zaichi. Jing Changming's face turned pale. In fact, when he saw the interaction between Yi Zaichi and Zuinitan Daozan at the altar of the blood sacrifice of thousands of people, he had guessed their feelings, but he was unwilling to believe it. Luo Yangxi hit his sore spot directly. Jing Changming took a deep breath and finally spoke. You came here just to laugh at me. Yes. Luo Yangxi admitted generously. Don't you know everything? Jing Changming's face twisted. Have you seen enough? Can you leave now? Luo Yangxi nodded. I have seen enough. As soon as she finished speaking, she had already stood on her flying sword and was about to leave. But at the moment of turning around, Luo Yangxi threw out 2 jade bottles, threw them on Jing Changming's body, and then flew into the sky and disappeared like lightning. Jing Changming opened the 2 jade bottles with a complicated expression and looked at the pills in the bottles. The 2 kinds of pills, one for strengthening the body and the other for increasing lifespan, are all edible to mortals. Such pills are very easy to refine, but few people in the world of cultivation can refine them. Everyone who refines pills is refining pills for cultivators to take, and no one has ever refined pills specifically for mortals. Xianhe sect is a big family with a great business, but there is no medicine that mortals can use. But now Luo Yangxi took out the medicine that only mortals can take, which should be specially refined by her. Su Qingni whispered, although Luo Yangxi hates Jing Changming on the surface, she has a sincere heart for Jing Changming. It's a pity that Jing Changming's eyesight is not good. Jiao Ming nodded. Jing Changming looked at the direction where Luo Yangxi disappeared, and his expression became more complicated. Jiao Ming restarted the flying boat and took the 3 people to the mountain forest when he, Su Qingni and Chunlin first came to the world of cultivation. Jiao Ming had found Chunlin before and asked her if she wanted to return to the mortal world. Chunlin refused very firmly. Chunlin is now practicing harder than before, and her current goal is to ascend. After seeing the ascension passage, most people in the world of cultivation now have the goal of ascending. Everyone is practicing hard in their own caves, and there are fewer people making trouble. The world of cultivation has rarely ushered in peace. Before finally reaching the barrier, Jiao Ming took out the things given to him by the headmaster and crossed the barrier first, followed by Jing Changming, and finally Su Qingni. There are many wild beasts in the mountains and forests on the other side of the barrier. They are not a threat to cultivators, but they are very dangerous to ordinary people like Jing Changming. Jiao Ming has to go there first to help Jing Changming solve the danger. Jing Changming's mentality has become much calmer since he met Luo Yangxi. If he had the same mentality as before, crossing the barrier would make him uncomfortable for a long time. Su Qingni crossed the barrier and felt the thin spiritual energy of the mortal world. The corners of her mouth curled slightly. She wondered how the people in the Marcus mansion were. Chapter 1029, The Immortal Cultivation Story of the Marquis's Daughter. After Jing Changming followed Su Qingni and Jiao Ming out of the forest, he decided to stay in a village outside the forest. He wanted to be closer to the world of cultivation. Su Qingni and Jiao Ming helped Jing Changming settle down in this village. Su Qingni's stored ring still had a lot of gold, silver and jewelry that she had not used up in the mortal world. Su Qingni took out most of these gold, silver and jewelry and gave them to Jing Changming, and bought land and built a house for Jing Changming. Su Qingni also went to the local county government to register Jing Changming. Jiao Ming taught Jing Changming how to live in the world and taught him the rules of the world. This teaching lasted for a month. When Jing Changming adapted to life in the mortal world, Jiao Ming and Su Qingni left. The two went to Jiao Ming's hometown. The person who occupied the Jiao family's property was Jiao Ming's uncle, who had a very good relationship with the patriarch. Therefore, he was able to occupy Jiao Ming's property so unscrupulously and attack Jiao Ming. The patriarch also got a share. Jiao Ming did not show up either, but cast spells in secret to punish these people. After coming to the mortal world, the cultivator can only use the cultivation of the key refining period, but it is enough for Jiao Ming to use some small spells to punish his enemies. His uncle and the clan leader had accidents one after another. The uncle was walking on the road, and a big pit suddenly appeared on the originally flat road. The uncle fell into the pit and broke his leg. The clan leader was sitting well at home, and suddenly the roof collapsed and buried the clan leader. When everyone dug the clan leader out, he also broke a pair of legs. The clan leader and the uncle both broke their legs, and it was a sudden disaster, which was unusual no matter how you look at it. Everyone couldn't help but wonder if they had risked ghosts and gods. Could it be that the people they had harmed came to take revenge? Who did they harm? Naturally, it was Jiao Ming's family. It was only after Jiao Ming came back this time that he learned that his parents did not die in an accident or die of illness, but were killed by his uncle. The uncle murdered Jiao Ming's father and let his mother die of illness. The clan leader knew the inside story and helped his uncle to cover it up. Jiao Ming used magic to create a ghost, pretending that it was his parents who came back to avenge his uncle and the clan leader. His uncle had a guilty conscience and was frightened to death. The clan leader did not die, but he became disabled, and he will have a hard time in the second half of his life. His descendants are like him, not filial. His aunt was also an insider, so she was scared crazy. Her children were the same as the clan leader's children, unwilling to raise such a lunatic, and lured his aunt to jump into the river. Jiao Ming looked at these cousins expressionlessly, and took away all the gold, silver, jewelry and deeds of the Jiao family. Originally, he only wanted to take the property that belonged to his family, but seeing what these people did, he took away the property of his uncle's family. Jiao Ming exchanged all these properties for silver and distributed them to the poor families around him, leaving nothing for the cousins who even hurt their mother. After doing this, Jiao Ming felt much better. After he went to burn incense for his parents, he followed Su Qingni and left his hometown. Jiao Ming learned from Su Qingni that his parents had been reincarnated, so he gave up the idea of bringing their remains back to the world of cultivation for worship. His parents had completely severed ties with this life, so why should he miss them anymore? After dealing with the Jiao family's affairs, Jiao Ming felt relaxed and felt that his state of mind had been elevated to a higher level, and his cultivation seemed to have made another breakthrough. Unfortunately, due to the limitations of the mortal world, he could not form a pill immediately. He could only wait until he returned to the world of cultivation. Sister Qingni, do you want to go back to your hometown? Jiao Ming asked Su Qingni. Su Qingni nodded. Jiao Ming continued to ask, Sister Qingni, where's your hometown? Jiao Ming and Su Qingni have known each other for so many years, but he really didn't know Su Qingni's origins. Beijing. Su Qingni looked in the direction of Beijing. I used to be the eldest daughter of the Marcus Mansion. The eldest daughter of the Marcus Mansion. Jiao Ming was surprised. He didn't expect Sister Qingni's status to be so high. If he hadn't gone to the world of cultivation to become a cultivator, the gap between him and Sister Qingni would be like a chasm. Sister Qingni, isn't life in the Marcus Mansion good? How did you think of going to the world of cultivation? Jiao Ming asked curiously. How could people from ordinary wealthy families give up their luxurious life, suffer and risk their lives to find the legendary world of cultivation? Su Qingni smiled, because compared to luxurious life but being trapped in the backyard, I yearn for a free life and strong strength. As for the life in the Marcus Mansion, Su Qingni's smile deepened, not bad. Seeing this smile, Jiao Ming's body trembled, he felt that someone was going to suffer. The two were not in a hurry to return to the world of cultivation. Su Qingni asked Jiao Ming to see more in the mortal world and experience more worldly things to train his state of mind. Let him regard this trip to the mortal world as an experience. This will be of great benefit to him. There will be no such opportunity to train his mind in the world of cultivation when he returns to the world of cultivation. How much his state of mind will improve after this experience depends on him, but at least it will be much easier on the road of cultivation in the future. At least before the stage of transformation, Jiao Ming does not have to worry about his state of mind not catching up with his cultivation. The two of them drove a carriage and walked slowly, just like they did on the way to the world of cultivation. They did not use the means of the world of cultivation. On this day, the two stopped at a dilapidated temple. Seeing the dilapidated temple, both of them felt familiar. Sister Qingni, have we been to this dilapidated temple before? Jiao Ming asked. Su Qingni nodded. We also met a group of people who were assassinated in this temple. Jiao Ming remembered, the identity of that person is very unusual. Su Qingni recalled the name of the person and said, the surname is Huangfu, and he is from the royal family. I just don't know which prince of the royal family he is. The fight for the throne had already begun at that time, right? I just don't know if the fight will end after a few years. Is Huangfu's Hanqing the winner? Or is Huangfu's Hangyang the winner? If Huangfu's Hangyang is the winner, then Su Qingni can become the queen? What about Fan Pengyu? In order to marry Su Qingni, he used means to murder the original body, but in the end, the person he loved turned around and got along with other men. Is this guy mad? While Su Qingni was thinking, Jiao Ming had already lit a fire and roasted the wild rabbit on the fire. Although the two had been fasting, they ate the food of the mortal world after coming to the mortal world, which aroused their appetite. Along the way, every time they arrived at a town, they would eat in the restaurants and snack shops in the city. They also brought a lot of seasonings with them, and when they arrived in the wild, they would barbecue and stew soup, and their mouths would be full of oil. Su Qingni specially made pills for clearing the intestines and stomach. Chewing one pill every day would eliminate all impurities in the body. The wild rabbit was roasted and oily, and the aroma rushed into the nose. Jiao Ming licked his lips and was about to take a wild rabbit off the fire when the sound of horse hooves was heard outside the ruined temple. Chapter 1030, The Immortal Cultivation Story of the Marquis's Daughter. After the sound of horse hooves came the sound of human footsteps. The footsteps were a bit messy, showing the mood of the visitor. The next moment, a group of 5 people entered the hall. The 5 people were in a very embarrassed state, and one of them was even unconscious. Su Qingni and Jiao Ming took a look. Hey, it's really fate. There are acquaintances inside. Isn't the unconscious person Huangfu's Henking, whom they have helped before? And the big man carrying him, isn't that his subordinate Shui Yi? Why is it that every time he sees Huangfu's Henking, he is chased by someone? It's really miserable. The face is dark blue, it is because he has been poisoned. If he is not rescued, this life will be gone. Seeing someone in the hall, the 4 big men were startled and alert. The other 3 big men were about to rush forward with weapons, but Shui Yi recognized Su Qingni, who had met him once, and hurriedly stopped his companions. Su Qingni had helped them before, and her martial arts value was so high that Shui Yi was deeply impressed. Over the years, Jiao Ming has grown up. People who have seen him before can't recognize him, but Su Qingni's appearance has not changed at all. Shui Yi naturally recognized her. Shui Yi still remembers that in addition to Su Qingni's explosive martial arts, her healing medicines are also top-notch. Who knows, this person can save His Highness. Shui Yi quickly knelt on one knee and asked Su Qingni, Miss Su, please save my master. Su Qingni said, you have a good memory. Okay, your master and I are also destined to be together. You put him on the ground and I will help him. Shui Yi was overjoyed and hurriedly asked another big man to spread straw on the ground. The big man took off his coat and spread it on the straw. Shui Yi then carefully put Huangfu's Hanking down. Su Qingni walked to the side of Huangfu's Hanking and squatted down to check. Huangfu's Hanking was chopped on the back by someone. The weapon was highly toxic. The toxin flowed into the body with the blood and was about to enter the heart. If the poison entered the heart, this person would be dead. Su Qingni took out a detoxification pill and broke it into 2 halves. She put 1 half into Huangfu's Hanking's hand, used her spiritual energy to help the pill enter her throat, and crushed the other half and sprinkled it on the wound. The detoxification pills in the cultivation world are very effective. As soon as the pill entered his mouth, the dark blue on Huangfu's Hanking's face disappeared, and the blood flowing from the wound had returned to its original red color. Su Qingni took out the wound medicine, applied it to Huangfu's Hanking, and bandaged it. Seeing that Huangfu's Hanking's breath was no longer weakened, Shui Yi and others breathed a sigh of relief and bowed to Su Qingni to express their gratitude. Su Qingni waved her hand, lent them a pot and some seasonings, and gave them a Ganoderma lucidum that she picked up in the mountains. A big man went out hunting and hunted 5 pheasants. One of them was stewed with Ganoderma lucidum, and the other 4 were roasted pheasants. The big men shared the roasted chicken, and the chicken soup was left for Huangfu's Hanking. At 3 o'clock in the morning, Huangfu's Hanking woke up. Shui Yi fed Huangfu's Hanking a bowl of Ganoderma lucidum chicken soup, and Huangfu's Hanking fell asleep again. The next morning, Su Qingni and Jiao Ming were about to leave, but were stopped by Shui Yi. Shui Yi embarrassedly asked them to borrow a carriage. Huangfu's Hanking was in a condition where he could not ride a horse, so he could only take a carriage. Su Qingni did not refuse, and Shui Yi hurriedly carried Huangfu's Hanking into the carriage. Su Qingni and Jiao Ming also sat in the carriage, while Shui Yi sat outside the carriage and drove. The journey was peaceful. The people who assassinated Huangfu's Hanking might have been killed by Shui Yi and others a long time ago, or they thought that Huangfu's Hanking was dead because of his injuries and poisoning without an antidote, so no more killers appeared along the way. The carriage drove for a long time, and Huang Fu's Hanking woke up. He was in good spirits and recognized Su Qingni. Miss Su. Huang Fu's Hanking couldn't get up yet, so he could only nod at Su Qingni. Thank you for saving my life again. It seems that Shui Yi told him about Su Qingni's help last night. Su Qingni smiled and said, it's just a small favor, not worth mentioning. Huang Fu's Hanking said, it's just a small favor for you, but it's very important to me. If you have any troubles in the future, just come to me. I can still help Miss Su in the capital. Su Qingni raised her eyebrows. Do you know I'm going to the capital? Huang Fu's Hanking said, Miss Su didn't hide her real name. I knew Miss Su's identity when I returned to the capital. Su Qingni raised her eyebrows again. Huang Fu's Hanking sighed and said, Su Qingni is too famous in the capital, and her name is so similar to yours. Su Qingni twitched her lips. She remembered the gossip about Su Qingni that she had heard on the road, and couldn't help asking Huang Fu's Hanking. Is Su Qingni following the third prince or Fan Pingyan now? Or another man? Huang Fu's Hanking's mouth twitched involuntarily. This man knew her sister quite well. Huang Fu's Hanking said, Su Qingni is now my third sister-in-law. However, her followers are still obsessed with her, and even helped my good third brother for her. This time he suffered a life and death crisis because of one of Su Qingni's followers. It turned out that she married Huang Fu's Hangang. Does Su Qingni have a Mary Su halo? In addition to Huang Fu's Hangang and Fan Pingyu, she also attracted other men. I don't know how many there are. Huang Fu's Hanking has already explained Su Qingni's doubts. General Gu Jinghu of Divine Power, Fu Junayan, the son of the Prime Minister, and Dong Fangjun, a famous poisonous hand doctor in the world. This time I was poisoned by Gu Jinghu, Fu Junayan and Dong Fangjun. Fu Junayan leaked my whereabouts, Gu Jinghu provided manpower, and Dong Fangjun provided poison. What about Fan Pingyu? Su Qingni asked. She was very curious. Huang Fu's Hangyang was the man snatched from Fan Pingyu. Would Fan Pingyu be willing to be a cuckold and work for his love rival? Huang Fu's Hanking said, Fan Pingyu is already a cripple. When Huang Fu's Hangyang attacked Fan Pingyu disappeared, but he did not die. Instead, he broke a leg and became a cripple. After returning to the capital, he could no longer be the prince of the Marquisate. The position of the prince was taken by his younger brother. Fan Pingyu hated Huang Fu's Hangyang very much. Naturally, he would not help Huang Fu's Hangyang like Dong Fangjun and the other two did. Instead, he chose another prince to specifically oppose Huang Fu's Hangyang. At the beginning, Fan Pingyu's first choice was Huang Fu's Hanking, but Huang Fu's Hanking thought of Fan Pingyu's method of dealing with Su Qingni. Perhaps this incident was an opportunity for Su Qingni to take the opportunity to leave home, but Fan Pingyu's method was too insidious. If he could even calculate his fiancée ruthlessly and cruelly, how could he be expected to be loyal to his master? Besides, Fan Pingyu only had a grudge against Huang Fu's Hangang, and he still liked Su Qingni in his heart. What if he was seduced by Su Qingni again and betrayed his master? Huang Fu's Hanking would not put such a person by his side. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1031, The Immortal Cultivation Story of the Marquis's Daughter. Fan Pingyu served another prince and gave that prince many insidious ideas to deal with Huang Fu's Hangang. Huang Fu's Hangang suffered several losses. But just as Huang Fu's Hanking expected, when Su Qingni appeared, Fan Pingyu was seduced by her again, stabbed his master in the back, and the prince was defeated by Huang Fu's Hangang. After the prince fell, Fan Pingyu became a headless fly, not knowing where to go. He wanted to stay with Su Qingni, but Huang Fu's Hangang hated Fan Pingyan's several calculations against him, which caused him to lose a lot of manpower, and he had already used Fan Pingyu, so it was impossible for Su Qingni to have any contact with Fan Pingyu. Huang Fu's Hangyang's men were also unwilling to let Fan Pingyu, who had harmed their colleagues, join them. Fan Pingyu himself did not want to be Huang Fu's Hangyang's men. You must know that his disability was caused by the third prince, and he lost his life at a little bit. In addition to the hatred of taking his wife away, how could Fan Pingyan be willing to help Huang Fu's Hangyang? After seeing that Huang Fu's Hangyang would not let him see Su Qingni again, Fan Pingyu angrily joined another prince's subordinates and helped that prince to continue to deal with the third prince. Then Su Qingni came out to hook up with Fan Pingyu again, and Fan Pingyu stabbed the prince again. After that, no prince was willing to have Fan Pingyu as a subordinate. No one used him and he offended a lot of people, the princes he had cheated, their subordinates and officials. Fan Pingyu could no longer stay in the capital, and the Fan family drove him to the farm in the suburbs. With a broken leg, abandoned by the family, and no future, Fan Pingyu was completely useless. Su Qingni was in a good mood after listening to Fan Pingyu's experience. Fan Pingyu deserved such an end. Huangfu's Hanking told Su Qingni a lot of things in the capital, most of which were about the Su family. The Su family and the Fan family had fallen out because of their children. The Su family had a good daughter who was quite active in the court. But the Fan family was suppressed because of Fan Pingyu, and now it has fallen into a second-rate family. The eldest son of the Su family married a princess, and it was Huangfu's Hangyang who arranged it. The princess had no brothers, and her in-laws had military power. Huangfu's Hangyang took a fancy to this part of the military power, so he used the eldest son of the Su family to contact the princess's in-laws. The other younger generations of the Su family also developed well. Su Qingni's two cousins married into the families of dukes and marquises. These people live very well and have forgotten that the Su family once had a legitimate daughter. Su Qingni smiled at Huangfu's Hanking's grievances for her. The Su family has nothing to do with me anymore. Huangfu's Hanking's eyebrows jumped when he heard this, and asked, Miss Su was determined to find the immortals at the beginning. Did she find the immortals? Su Qingni smiled and did not answer. Huangfu's Hanking sighed deeply, with envy in his eyes. Huangfu's Hanking, Miss Su, are you coming back this time to sever your worldly ties? Su Qingni, I don't have any worldly ties anymore, so it doesn't matter whether I sever them or not. I'm just revisiting an old place. Huangfu's Hanking, can I be your host? Su Qingni smiled, then I'll trouble the fourth prince. Huangfu's Hanking's injury healed quickly with Su Qingni by his side, and he was able to walk on the third day. As they got closer and closer to the capital, people in the capital also learned that Huangfu's Hanking was not dead. Huangfu's Hanking's men rushed out to meet him, and his enemies quickly sent people out to stop Huangfu's Hanking. They had already taken action against Huangfu's Hanking, so they would not want to see him return to the capital alive. However, Huangfu's Hanking's enemies arrived first. This time, it was Gu Jinghu who led the way himself. He brought his own guards, all of whom were masters. Huangfu's Hanking only had 4 men left, so they were naturally no match for Gu Jinghu. At the critical moment, Su Qingni asked Jiao Ming to take action. Jiao Ming would not kill ordinary people, but he broke the tendons of Gu Jinghu and his guards. With broken tendons, these people can't even hold the bowls and chopsticks. How can they hold weapons? Without weapons, how can they go to the battlefield? They are also equivalent to useless people. How can a useless person deserve the title of General Shenwei? Thinking of his future situation, Gu Jinghu spit out a mouthful of blood and fell straight down. Huangfu's Hanking's men finally arrived, and surrounded Huangfu's Hanking's carriage into the capital. Now, the struggle for the succession of the princes has come to an end. The other princes have failed in the struggle and lost the qualifications for the throne. Only Huangfu's Hanking and Huangfu's Hangyang are left. The two are now fighting to the death. Hearing that Huangfu's Hanking returned to the capital safely, Huangfu's Hangyang smashed Su Qingni's favorite vase, making the flowers that Su Qingni personally inserted into the vase become withered flowers. Su Qingni stepped forward to comfort Huangfu's Hanking. Don't be angry, if you can't kill Huangfu's Hanking this time, there will be a next time. Huangfu's Hangyang snorted and said, Gu Jinghu is useless, can we still count on him? Huangfu's Hangyang couldn't understand how Huangfu's Hanking had such a powerful subordinate. It was said that he met him halfway. With such good luck, is God favoring him? No, the person favored by God should be himself, otherwise how could he meet Su Qingni? Marrying Su Qingni has brought a lot of help to himself. Although Gu Jinghu is useless, he did not hand over the military power in his hands. He could send someone to take over Gu Jinghu's military power. There is also Fu Junian. With him, the Prime Minister has to stand on his side. Not to mention Dongfang Jun. That superb poison technique made him very afraid. Fortunately, Su Qingni was there, otherwise he was really afraid that Dongfang Jun's poison would be used on him. Huangfu's Hangyang's eyes were dark.
When the big thing was done, he would definitely kill Dongfang Jun. He would never leave such a threat behind. In addition, Gu Jinghu and Fu Junian could not let them live. Anyone who dared to covet his woman must die. Huangfu's Hangyang's face showed a trace of ferocity, and murderous intent was boiling. However, Su Qingni misunderstood and thought that Huangfu's Hangyang was full of murderous intent because Huangfu's Hanking was still alive. She also wanted Huangfu's Hanking to die quickly, so that Huangfu's Hangyang would be the only prince who is qualified to ascend the throne, and he could become the crown prince, and she could also become the crown princess. Then the emperor should die, and by then Huangfu's Hangyang would be the emperor, and she would be the queen, becoming the #1 woman in the world. Su Qingni said, "Zhangyang, I will go to Dongfangjun and ask him to take action against Huangfu's Hanking again. No one can detect Dongfangjun's poison. As long as he takes action, he will be able to kill Huangfu's Hanking silently." Huangfu's Hangyang's eyes flashed, and he nodded and said, "Okay, then I'll trouble you, my lady." Chapter 1032, The Immortal Cultivation Story of the Marquis's Daughter. Su Qingni was very proud. She had been given the script of the heroine since she traveled through time. Not only was she of noble birth and had a bright future, but there were also so many handsome men who fell at her feet. Su Qingni went to find Dongfangjun happily. Dongfangjun never refused to meet the request of the person he liked. A good Jianghu free traveler and a respected genius doctor became a licking dog in front of Su Qingni. Dongfangjun's poison technique was very powerful, colorless and tasteless, and the poison people didn't know how they were poisoned. Even though Huangfu's Hanking knew Dongfangjun and was on guard against him, he was still poisoned. It was probably because he was poisoned by a mixed poison, different medicines mixed together to become poison, and Huangfu's Hanking didn't realize that he was poisoned. But Su Qingni saw it at a glance. She and Jiaoming accepted Huangfu's Hanking's invitation and lived in Huangfu's Hanking's mansion. Huangfu's Hanking arranged a quiet courtyard for the two of them. The courtyard was close to the corner gate. They could enter and exit Huangfu's Hanking's mansion at will without going through the main gate. They were very free. Huangfu's Hanking would come to the yard every day. He knew that Su Qingni and Jiaoming might be the legendary immortals, so he naturally had to please them. The women in his backyard had been warned by Huangfu's Hanking. Those women did not know Su Qingni's true identity, and thought that Su Qingni was the little cousin brought back by Huangfu's Hanking from outside. They were extremely jealous and wanted to tear Su Qingni apart alive. But because of Huangfu's Hanking's warning, these people did not dare to trouble Su Qingni, and could only stay in the yard and sulk. On this day, Su Qingni came back from visiting the capital with Jiaoming, and Huangfu's Hanking came to visit their yard again. Su Qingni glanced at Huangfu's Hanking and said, "You are poisoned." "What?" Huangfu's Hanking was shocked. He believed in Su Qingni and hurriedly said, "Miss Su, please help me detoxify." Su Qingni took out a detoxification pill and threw it to Huangfu's Hanking. Huangfu's Hanking took the pill and looked at it again and again. He did not eat it immediately, but asked Su Qingni, "Miss Su? Can this detoxification pill cure all poisons?" Su Qingni nodded. This detoxification pill can even cure some poisons in the world of cultivation, not to mention the poisons in the mortal world. Huangfu's Hanking asked again, "Miss, do you have a lot of this kind of pill? Can you sell it to me? I will buy it with a lot of money." Su Qingni did not ask Huangfu's Hanking for too much gold and silver. After all, gold and silver in the mortal world are useless to cultivators. Su Qingni took a little and gave Huangfu's Hanking 10 detoxification pills. Huangfu's Hanking thanked him very much and said goodbye after receiving the detoxification pills. Returning to his study, Huangfu's Hanking looked very ugly. He immediately called Shui Yi and gave him 5 detoxification pills, asking him to take people to get rid of Dongfangjun. After Shui Yi left, Huangfu's Hanking put away the 5 detoxification pills and put them in the secret compartment of his study, and put the last one into his mouth. Soon, black beads of sweat appeared on Huangfu's Hanking's body. Seeing these black beads of sweat, Huangfu's Hanking's face was even darker than the beads of sweat. Huangfu's Hangyang's methods were getting lower and lower. He had to speed up the process and must not let Huangfu's Hangyang jump around like this again. Dongfangjun's medical skills and poison skills were both top-notch, so people in the martial arts world did not dare to provoke him. Who knew when they would be poisoned? Those who wanted to kill him would be poisoned before they could even get in front of him. This poison technique was Dong Fangjun's reliance on saving his life, but in contrast, Dong Fangjun's martial arts was not worth seeing at all. As long as someone was not afraid of the poison getting within 3 feet of Dong Fangjun, they could kill Dong Fangjun. Dong Fangjun lived in Huangfu's Hangyang's mansion, but it was a very remote courtyard. No one in the mansion dared to approach that courtyard. Even the guards would take a detour when patrolling, for fear of getting a little bit of poison and not knowing how they died. Dong Fangjun was very confident in his poison and did not care at all that there were no guards around the courtyard. He was confident that no one could enter his room, except Su Qingni. Su Qingni had a poison-repelling sachet specially made by Dong Fangjun, which could protect Su Qingni from being harmed by poison. This confidence cost Dong Fangjun his life. Shui Yi led 4 men into Dong Fangjun's yard and sneaked into Dong Fangjun's room. Dong Fangjun was shocked to see the 5 murderous men who had already come to his side, and said, "Why aren't you poisoned?" Shui Yi smiled and said that with the detoxification pills given by the immortal, Dong Fangjun's poison could not poison them at all. Shui Yi raised the big knife in his hand. Dong Fangjun's body was discovered by Su Qingni. No one dared to approach Dong Fangjun's yard, so no one found him dead for several days. It was only when Su Qingni wanted to show her charm to Dong Fangjun that she found him. At that time, Dong Fangjun's body had turned into a black skeleton due to the backlash of the poison. Su Qingni fainted directly from fear. Her maid didn't have the poison-repelling sachet, so she couldn't follow her into the room. Naturally, she couldn't catch Su Qingni's body in time, causing her to fall straight to the ground with a big bump on the back of her head. This wasn't the worst. The worst was that Su Qingni was pregnant, but she didn't know it yet. With this fall, the seed in her belly was gone. This was discovered by Su Qingni herself after she woke up. There was no way, the servants didn't know what happened in the house. After Su Qingni fainted, she lay on the ground for a long time before waking up. She saw a pool of blood under her body and was terrified. She crawled out of the yard with her hands and feet, and then let the servants take her back to the yard where she lived. The servants hurriedly found the imperial physician for Su Qingni. The imperial physician diagnosed that Su Qingni had a miscarriage, and the child could not be saved. Su Qingni also lost too much blood, hurt her body, and it would be difficult for her to get pregnant in the future. Although Su Qingni had been married to Huangfu's Hangyang for 3 years, she felt that her body was still young and the risk of pregnancy and childbirth would be relatively large. She thought about waiting for 2 years until her body was fully grown before getting pregnant and having a child. So she has been using contraception for the past 3 years. Huangfu's Hangyang has no children and no heirs. Even the court officials who stand on his side are worried. They are worried that Huangfu's Hangyang has no heirs. Even if he becomes the emperor, who will the throne belong to in the future? Some court officials wanted to send their daughters to Huangfu's Hangyang as concubines, but Huangfu's Hangyang naturally refused. Su Qingni was very happy about this. But now, Su Qingni is not happy anymore. Huangfu's Hangyang did not take concubines before because she was able to have children. If she could not give birth, Huangfu's Hangyang would definitely look for other women for the sake of heirs. Not to mention that her husband was separated. Even if she became the Empress Dowager in the future, the Emperor's son would not be her own. How aggrieved that would be. Su Qingni could not help crying. Chapter 1033, The Immortal Cultivation Story of the Marquis's Daughter. Su Qingni cried miserably, and Huangfu's Hangyang was even more upset. The child was gone, and the biggest trump card in his hand was gone. Although Huangfu's Hangyang wanted to kill Dong Fangjun, it was not now. He still had many opponents. Huangfu's Hangyang felt that he must have been possessed by bad luck these days, and nothing he did went smoothly. He wondered if he should go to the temple to burn incense. The servant came to report that Fu Junayan, the second son of the prime minister's mansion, was here. Huangfu's Hangyang didn't want to see these admirers of Su Qingni, but he needed to win over the prime minister, so he had to give face to Fu Junayan. Fu Junayan came with doubts. Gu Jinghu was disabled and Dong Fangjun was dead. Fu Junayan suspected that Huangfu's Hangyang did it. He suspected that Huangfu's Hangyang wanted to eliminate their rivals. Huangfu's Hangyang cried out for grievance, and he was indeed aggrieved. He had not yet accomplished his great cause, so how could he kill his helper? If he wanted to kill, he would wait until he ascended the throne. Huangfu's Hangyang still persuaded Fu Junayan, and Fu Junian was appeased by him. Fu Junian asked to see Su Qingni, and Huang Fu's Hengyang had to bear the suffocation and let his wife see other men. What he didn't know was that the servants in the palace were all suspicious of the color of his head. After seeing his beloved woman, Fu Junian left the third prince's mansion contentedly. However, not long after he left the mansion, he was kidnapped. At the same time, a letter was delivered to the prime minister's mansion. Huang Fu's Hengyang's power in the court was suppressed. Huang Fu's Henking was furious and produced a lot of evidence. Even the emperor could not favor Huang Fu's Hengyang and dealt with Huang Fu's Hengyang's officials according to the law. Huang Fu's Hengyang was so angry that his liver hurt. He couldn't understand how Huang Fu's Henking could collect so much evidence, and none of it was forged. Could it be that there was an undercover agent of Huang Fu's Henking among the officials in his line? No, I can't be passive anymore, I must take the initiative. Huang Fu's Hengyang looked in the direction of the palace with a desperate expression. Half a month later, the emperor suddenly fell seriously ill and could hardly get out of bed. He ordered the third prince to be the regent and began to make arrangements for the third prince to be the crown prince. The people of the third prince's faction were overjoyed and went to the palace to attend the grand court meeting with smiles on their faces. This was the first grand court meeting presided over by the third prince. There would be a second and third time in the future. In the future, the court would be the world of the third prince's faction. Huang Fu's Hengyang was also very proud. Although he couldn't sit on the seat in the center now, it would not be bad to put a chair below. Anyway, he would be able to take a step forward soon, and the central position would be his sooner or later. The eunuch's sharp voice spread throughout the hall. If there is something to say, please stand up and report it. If there is nothing to say, please leave the court. People who were not from the third prince's faction kept their mouths shut and stood in their positions like wooden stakes, without expressing any opinions. People from the third prince's faction came forward one after another, but they only talked about trivial matters in order to liven up the atmosphere and give the third prince face. But in the end, someone suggested that the third prince take a concubine. The third prince will be the emperor in the future, how can he have only one woman? They don't ask for full quota of 3 palaces, 6 courtyards and 72 concubines, just half of them? Noble, virtuous and virtuous, their daughters can be qualified. All the ministers in the third prince's family who have daughters and granddaughters of marriageable age stared at the third prince with burning eyes. Huang Fu's Hengyang felt overwhelmed. However, he had to consider this opinion. Indeed, how could the emperor have only one woman? Besides, Su Qingni can't give birth now, but he can't be without an heir. Huang Fu's Hengyang thought about it and decided to adopt the minister's opinions. He was about to speak when he suddenly heard footsteps outside the hall. Huang Fu's Hengyang frowned and was about to rebuke loudly when he saw a team of fully armed soldiers rushing into the hall. Huang Fu's Hengyang was shocked and asked the leader, Feng Xiaohu, what are you doing? Are you going to rebel? Feng Xiaohu was the commander of the Imperial Guards. When he heard Huang Fu's Hengyang's question, he didn't say anything. He just turned his body sideways, stood aside, and let the people behind him out. When everyone saw the person behind Feng Xiaohu, their eyes widened. The ministers of the third prince's faction panicked, feeling that a disaster was about to happen. Huang Fu's Hengyang was even more panicked than them. He did not expect that the emperor would recover from his illness and appear in the court. The emperor was supported by the fourth prince to enter the hall. His body was still a little weak, but he had to appear, otherwise after today's grand court meeting, Huang Fu's Hengyang's position would become stable, and it would take a lot of effort for him to deal with him again. The emperor was not sick, but poisoned. The poison was naturally given by Huang Fu's Hengyang's people, and the toxin came from Su Qingni. Although Dongfangjun was dead, there were still many prepared poisons in his room. Su Qingni could safely enter and exit Dongfangjun's room and take out the poison inside. Huang Fu's Henking suspected the truth of the emperor's illness, secretly used his connections to sneak into the palace, and fed the emperor a detoxification pill. It didn't take long for the emperor to get up. The emperor originally had no bias towards Huang Fu's Hengyang and Huang Fu's Henking, and felt that either of them could take the throne. The emperor raised his sons in the same way as Master Kang. He sat on a high place and watched his sons fight each other. He did not intervene to help any of them. He only wanted the best one to inherit his throne. However, he did not expect Huang Fu's Hengyang to reach out to himself and poison himself to take his life. This offended the emperor's reverse scale. Of course, the emperor chose to save his son and raised a knife to kill his son. The emperor was more majestic than Huangfu's Hangyang and had a firmer grasp on the court. As soon as the emperor appeared, officials from the third prince's line did not dare to show up. So Huangfu's Hangyang was arrested and put into the Xianlao, and Huangfu's Hanking was named the prince. Huangfu's Hangyang committed suicide when he entered the Xianlao. He knew that he was different from other failed princes. Other princes did not harm the emperor, and the emperor still had a little father-son relationship with him, but he poisoned the emperor, and the emperor did not allow people who harmed him to live. Rather than being killed by the emperor, it is better to commit suicide and retain a little dignity. The third prince's mansion was sealed. Su Qingni, who was driven out of the mansion, was stunned. She was still high and mighty the day before, but now she has fallen to the dust. This is really unacceptable to her. She should actually thank Huangfu's Hanking. Huangfu's Hanking thought that she was Su Qingni's biological sister, so he helped her to plead with the emperor. The emperor did not kill Su Qingni, but demoted her to a commoner. The Su family was also lucky to save their lives. The ministers of the third prince's line were either imprisoned or beheaded, but the Su family was only demoted to commoners and was able to retain some property. They were really lucky. Thanks to their fairy daughter sister. Chapter 1034, The Immortal Cultivation Story of the Marquis's Daughter. Su Qingni had no choice but to return to her parents' home. The attitude of the Su family towards her took a 180-degree turn. In the past, the Su family tried to curry favor with her, and they thought that Su Qingni would eventually become the queen and be able to pull up the Su family. Now, the Su family failed because of Su Qingni, so they naturally hated Su Qingni. But they didn't think about the fact that they took the initiative to curry favor with Huangfu's Hangyang. Why did Fan Pingyu disappear and break his leg? In addition to Huangfu's Hangyang's action, their Su family was the guide. A prince of a marquis's mansion and a prince, the Su family certainly chose the prince. As the family of the prince's wife, they used this identity to get a lot of benefits. In order to curry favor with a third prince for their own benefit, they should be prepared to suffer misfortune after the third prince fails. They can't just enjoy the benefits without taking risks, right? The faces of the Su family made Su Qingni sick, but she had to endure it. After all, she didn't know how to gain a foothold or live alone. Her husband is dead, and her 3 admirers are either dead, disabled or missing. This woman who travels through time and space and does not want to establish herself and only wants to steal other people's men is at a loss. She can only rely on her natal family to live. As the Yu family of Huangfu's Hangyang, the Su family is afraid that Huangfu's Hanking will find them annoying and kill them whenever he is in a bad mood. In addition, their titles have been stripped, and they are just civilians in this capital city full of officials and nobles. Their political enemies and people who have offended them before will definitely cause trouble for them. So the family decided to leave the capital and return to their hometown in Jinling. On this day, the Su family packed up their gifts and left from the south gate by carriage. No one came to see them off, and the Su family felt desolate. After walking for more than 10 miles in a depressed atmosphere, the Su family saw a pavilion. The pavilion looks very simple. The bark on the outside of the 4 pillars supporting the roof of the pavilion has not been peeled off, and the top of the pavilion is only covered with some hay. This pavilion looks like it was built in a hurry. There are 3 stumps in the pavilion. There were people sitting on 2 short tree stumps, and a taller tree stump was placed between them with tea sets on it. Looking at the 2 people sitting, they were 2 young men and women, both of whom were outstanding. What was even more outstanding was their temperament, as graceful as fairies, as if they were masters outside the mortal world. But why did the woman look so familiar? Su Qingni! Su Qingni screamed. Su Qingni stood up and walked towards the Su family's carriage team. At this time, the Su family got off the carriage and looked at Su Qingni in surprise. There was no news about Su Qingni in these years, and they thought Su Qingni was dead. Even if she was fine, she must have been in a very miserable situation. But now it seems that Su Qingni is not only not miserable, but also very well. Su Qingni? Why are you here? Su Qingni asked. Among the Su family, she cared about Su Qingni the most. After all, she had robbed Su Qingni's fiancé, which made Su Qingni run away from home. She always thought that she was better than Su Qingni and had always suppressed Su Qingni. But now she is like a loser, while Su Qingni looks so glorious, How can she feel comfortable? Su Qingni said lightly, I am here to see you off. Su Qingni thought for a moment and asked immediately, do you know what happened to the Su family? Did you intervene in Huangfu's Hangyang's affairs and the downfall of the Su family? Are you taking revenge on me? Su Qingni sneered, I should thank you for snatching the scum, Fan Pingyu away. Why should I take revenge on you? Su Qingni wanted to call Fan Pingyu a scumbag, but thinking of Su Qingyu's identity as a time traveler, Su Qingni swallowed a word. She didn't want to meet fellow villagers with tears in their eyes with Su Qingyu. Su Qingni, I didn't interfere in your husband's affairs. I was just watching the show from the side. When Su's father heard this, he said angrily, how can you just watch the show? Why don't you help us? Help the third prince. Su Qingni turned her gaze to Su's father and said coldly, when Fan Pingyu designed to frame me, how many of you knew the truth? Why didn't you help me at that time? Why did you choose to stand idly by? Su's father's tone was a little weak. How can you compare with the entire Su family? Su Qingni chuckled twice, too lazy to say more to them, but took out a box from the storage ring and handed it to Su's father. There are 100,000 taels of silver notes in it. Take it. I have bought out the father-daughter relationship between us. There is also a bottle of elixir in it, which was made by my own mother for you. She originally planned to give it to you after giving birth, but unfortunately your family didn't want a woman of unknown origin like her to occupy the title of the head lady of the Marquis's mansion, so they secretly used means on her and prevented her from giving birth. This bottle of elixir was given to you more than 20 years later. When Su Qingni mentioned her biological mother, Father Su was in a trance for a moment, and the forgotten figure appeared in his mind. Father Su opened the box, took out the jade medicine bottle from it, touched it with emotion, and asked Su Qingni, what are these pills for? Of course, to eat. Su Qingni raised the corners of her mouth and gave Father Su a meaningful smile. This kind of pill is called Gianti pill. From the name, you can tell that it can make people strong and healthy, and it can also increase people's lifespan by 10 years. Father Su and the other people in the Su family took a breath. Pills that strengthen the body and increase lifespan? This is a magic pill, right? How could an orphan girl make it? Father Su and the Su family expressed doubts, and their expressions naturally revealed it. Su Qingni's smile deepened. Although my mother is an orphan, she is not an ordinary orphan. She is an orphan from the world of cultivation. Oh, the world of cultivation is the legendary fairyland. There are many legends of immortals in this world, which are not fictional. The immortals in the stories are actually cultivators. They live in the world of cultivation. They can fly with swords, they can climb mountains and seas, and they can live for hundreds or thousands of years. The Su family was stunned. Father Su touched his chest and felt deeply shocked. Regret. Too much regret. There was once an opportunity to become an immortal in front of him, but he did not cherish it. Now it is too late for him to regret. The one who can't accept it the most is Su Qingni. What did she hear? The world of cultivation? Cultivators? Since there's a world of cultivation, why not let her travel to the world of cultivation, but travel to become immortal? Isn't she the heroine of the time travel? Why is she not destined to be with cultivation? What queens and queen mothers are all empty, and compared to becoming immortals, these are all shit. She wants to become an immortal. She wants to go to the world of cultivation. Su Qingni shouted in her heart. She was still young. As long as she went to the cultivation world, she would be able to cultivate. It was not too late, not too late. Chapter 1035, The Immortal Cultivation Story of the Marquis's Daughter. After Su Qingni finished speaking, she flew up to the sky with Jiao Ming on a sword in front of the Su family and floated away. She had said goodbye to Huangfu's hanking before, and left Huangfu's hanking some pills she had made in the past few days. These pills were made from mortal herbs and were only useful for mortals. Huangfu's hanking had thought about keeping Su Qingni, but he also knew that Su Qingni was not an ordinary person, and he could not keep her by force, and would offend people, so he could only give up reluctantly. Fortunately, this immortal was not bad and gave him a lot of benefits. Su Qingni flew away in front of everyone in the Su family, and everyone in the Su family was in disbelief. Su's father was deeply shocked. There was another opportunity in front of him, but he ruined it. He had obviously married a woman from the fairy world, but someone killed her, and also caused the fairy daughter to be alienated from him. Su Qingni could not accept it the most. She thought she was the protagonist of her time travel, and Su Qingni was a cannon fodder. What was the result? The world she traveled through is not a world centered on house fighting and palace fighting, but a world of cultivation. Compared with Su Qingni, who had already practiced cultivation, she was cannon fodder. No, she must go to the world of cultivation and must practice cultivation. But what made Su Qingni collapse was that no one in the Su family knew where the world of cultivation was, and no one else knew it. Su Qingni watched many people and inquired about many legends about immortals, and finally learned about the existence of the world of cultivation and the barrier, but the problem was, how could a weak woman like her cross the dangerous forests to reach the barrier? After passing through the barrier, how could she get out of the more dangerous forests of the world of cultivation safely? Su Qingni sold all the precious jewelry she brought out of the palace for money, and used the money to hire some masters to escort herself into the forest where the barrier was. These masters were still capable and escorted Su Qingni to the edge of the barrier. After all, the beasts in the forest were just ordinary beasts, and they were not very dangerous to these masters. But after passing through the barrier, the danger came. The other side of the barrier is full of monsters, all of whom have the strength of the key refining stage or above, and even some have the strength of the foundation establishment stage, and a few have the strength of the golden core stage. Su Qingni and his group are not like Su Qingni, who has a spiritual sense plug-in. They don't know the way and walk around randomly, and it is easy to walk into the territory of the foundation establishment stage monsters or even the golden core stage monsters. These masters can only tie with a mid-level key refining stage monsters at most. How can they fight against a foundation establishment stage monsters? They will be killed in one move. Therefore, there are fewer and fewer masters around Su Qingni, and she is getting more and more embarrassed. Su Qingni fought hard and didn't retreat. Victory is in sight. As long as she walks out of the forest, she can practice Taoism and walk on the bright road. When she succeeds in her cultivation in the future, she must step on Su Qingni again. Su Qingni is still a little lucky. All the masters around her died, but she walked out of the forest alive. Unfortunately, what awaits her is not the bright future she expected, but a series of blows. First, she had no spiritual stones, and the gold and silver in the mortal world had been used up by the masters she hired. Without spiritual stones, she couldn't even enter the city. She could only wander outside the city and couldn't get much information. Without spiritual stones, she was a pauper and couldn't even buy things. In the end, Su Qingni became a beggar. Fortunately, beggars were more informed than ordinary people. Su Qingni finally found out that a nearby sect was recruiting disciples. This sect was a sect below the 9th stream, but Su Qingni was not picky now. She had long forgotten the idea of entering the first sect in the world of cultivation to practice. Now that she could practice cultivation and get rid of being a beggar, she was satisfied. At most, she would change sects after she cultivated to a certain level in the future. She believed that she must be a genius, and the people from the big sects of cultivation would rush to let her switch to their sects when they saw her qualifications. Unfortunately, she thought too beautifully and the reality was too cruel. The second blow came. Su Qingni went to participate in the sect's recruitment of disciples, but she didn't even pass the first level. The reason? Because she has no spiritual roots. She doesn't even have the 5 spiritual roots that are useless spiritual roots, and she doesn't have the qualifications to practice at all. The small sect doesn't want her. Su Qingni was shocked. How could it be possible? She is a time-traveling girl. She is the heroine of destiny. How could she not have spiritual roots? There must be something wrong. There must be something wrong with the instrument used by the sect to check spiritual roots. She should have some hidden spiritual roots, just like what is written in novels about yin spiritual roots and empty spiritual roots. Yes, that's it. Su Qingni decided to go to those big sects. She thought that the instruments used by those big sects to test spiritual roots should be more advanced and prepared, and should be able to test her hidden spiritual roots. However, the fact is that even the big sects did not detect that she had spiritual roots. Su Qingni was shocked and shouted like crazy, "I have spiritual roots, I have hidden spiritual roots, I am a genius." Everyone looked at her as if they were seeing a lunatic. How could they not know that there is a concept of hidden spiritual roots in the world? Su Qingni felt that no one in the entire cultivation world understood her, and she felt the malice from the entire cultivation world. She was unwilling to give up, and she stubbornly wanted to fight against fate. She believed that one day she would be able to soar to the sky like the protagonist in the novel. However, This kind of thing would never happen to her. She was just the protagonist of a Mary Sue novel, and she was incompatible with the cultivation of the little hands. Su Qingni was completely crazy. Su Qingni didn't know what happened to Su Qingni. She and Jiaoming had returned to Xianai sect. After Jiaoming returned to the sect, he went into seclusion, and when he came out, he was a cultivator in the golden core stage. This speed of cultivation made the people in the sect look at him sideways, and the senior leaders positioned Jiaoming as one of the most important training objects. Luo Yangxi also became a member of this important training. Since Jing Changming left, Luo Yangxi has seen it, and the original depression in her heart has dissipated. She devoted herself to cultivation. Although her cultivation speed was not as fast as Jiaoming, it was much faster than other people with heavenly spiritual roots. 2 years after Jiaoming formed a pill, Luo Yangxi also formed a pill. But Chunlin died in a secret realm. Her state of mind was not good, and she was jealous of Jiaoming and Luo Yangxi, and wanted to surpass them. She heard that there was a kind of natural treasure in a secret realm that could increase her cultivation speed, so she ran in. However, the natural treasures were guarded by powerful monsters. Chunlin was no match for the monsters, and died under the attack of the monsters, and her body was eaten by the monsters. Su Qingni stayed in this world for more than 500 years, and she left this world only after seeing the ascension of Zuanayan Daozen with her own eyes. Of course, Zuanayan Daozen's ascension was inseparable from her, otherwise, how could Zuanayan Daozen be able to ascend in just 500 years? Su Qingni left some useful props for Jiaoming, and left Xianaiman on the pretext of traveling. Chapter 1036 The Servant's Daughter. Su Qingni heard the sound of doors opening and closing, and knew that the adopted sister of this body had gone out. She must have gone to comfort the young master who was slapped in the face and broke off the engagement at the banquet. The original body of Su Qingni's body was the daughter of a pair of servants. The couple were both honest and simple-minded, and came from the countryside to work in the city. One was that they had no education and the other was that they were honest, so they couldn't find any good jobs and became servants for rich people. When Su's father was in his hometown, he learned to drive and repair cars, and worked as a driver for the master. Su's mother helped the chef in the kitchen. After 20 years, watching the chef work, Su's mother also learned a trick or two, and the meals she made were more delicious than those made by ordinary people. The two have worked in this Xia family for 20 years, and as their daughters, the original body and the original body's sister almost grew up in this family. Xiaobui, the eldest son of the head of the Xia family, is the same age as the original body's sister Su Qingni. Although the two went to different schools, Xiaobui went to aristocratic schools, while Su Qingni only went to ordinary schools. They often discussed homework and played together after school, and they were childhood sweethearts. The feelings of childhood sweethearts can easily turn into love. Su Qingni and Xiaobui like each other, but because of the difference in status, neither of them expressed their feelings first. As Su Qingni's sister, the original body saw it very clearly, but she did not approve of her sister being with Xiaobui. Again, the status is not compatible, and the Xia family will never want a servant's daughter to become the wife of their heir. However, although they knew they were not compatible, the feelings between the two were not something they could just give up. Although the two did not confess to each other, they both decided to try hard. Su Qingni wanted to work hard to make herself better and make herself qualified to stand by Xiaobui's side. Xiaobui also worked hard to make himself better. He joined his own company, was down to earth, and made excellent results. He wanted to gain the right to speak in the company and the family as soon as possible, and wanted to let his parents know that he could make his company better even without marriage. However, the better he was, the greater his parents' expectations of him, and the more they wanted to give him the best things. Choosing the best girl was one of them. Father and Mother Xia believed that only the best girl in the family could be worthy of their son and become their daughter-in-law. So when Xiaobui had not grown up enough to get rid of his parents' arrangements, Father and Mother Xia selected a wife for Xiaobui and arranged an engagement party. Can Xiaobui resist? Now he can't resist at all, and if his parents knew that he liked the daughter of the servant in the family, Su Qingni would end up miserably, not only her, but also other people in the Su family. Su Qingni also knew this, and could only watch the person she liked get engaged to someone else silently. Just the day before the engagement party, Su Qingni and Xiaobui met secretly. The two young people didn't say anything, but just sat together and blew the cold wind outside all night. The original body was a curious and bored guy, secretly following her sister. As a result, when she was walking home alone, she fell into a drainage well with the manhole cover stolen, with her head facing down, and she lost her life just like that, and gave her body to Su Qingni. Su Qingni sent the original body to the underworld with a smile and helplessness, opened a back door for the girl, let her jump the queue, and was reincarnated immediately. The family she reincarnated into had some relationship with the Su family. It was the family of Su's father's cousin, and she became the granddaughter of Su's father's cousin. Su's father's cousin lived in his hometown in the countryside and had little contact with Su's father's family. Su Qingni came back in the early morning of the next day. She shared a room with Su Qingni. Their family all lived in the Xia family. The Xia family was very large. In addition to the 3-story house where the owner lived, a 2-story building was built specifically for the servants. As old employees, Su's father and mother owned a 2-bedroom and 1 living room house. The area of the house was not large, less than 50 square meters in total. Su Qingni and Su Qingni live in the same room. If one of them makes a little movement, the other will know. Su Qingni thought that the sound she made was very small and would not be noticed by her sister. However, she did not know that her sister had long known that she often went out at night, and knew about the things between her and Xiaobui. Su Qingni could not hide her original body, let alone Su Qingni. The next day, Su Qingni did not attend Xiaobui's engagement dance on the grounds of health, and Su Qingni was captured by Su's father and mother and became one of the waiters at the dance. Su Qingni was lucky enough to see someone break into the dance and take away the engaged woman. This is a drama of a common loser slapping a rich man in the face. Xia's father and mother did choose the best women, but excellent women have their own ideas and have extraordinary vision. People look down on the 2nd and 3rd generations who rely on their parents' family to get to the top, and they look up to potential stocks with huge potential. Although the potential stock is currently just a loser. But this loser is not ordinary. She has a very powerful ability to appraise treasures, a 100% accurate ability to gamble on stones, and a very keen business sense. With so many strengths, this loser has a bright future. The excellent woman feels that she is the bull who discovers the 1,000-mile horse. She chooses the other party before the other party becomes famous. Later, the other party becomes famous and known all over the world, and she is praised by everyone for her unique vision. Su Qingni, I seem to have entered the world of the city. The excellent woman has vision, but her parents do not have such vision as her. Compared with a potential loser who has not yet become rich, they prefer a son-in-law with a rich family and excellent personality, so they force their daughter to get engaged. How can the loser man watch his beloved woman get engaged to another man? Of course, he bravely rushed to the engagement scene and staged a song love confession with the excellent woman. Then the loser man made provocative remarks to Xiaobui. The loser thought that Xiaobui would be so angry that he would lose his mind, and would behave irrationally, and look ugly in comparison with him, just like many men he had met before. Those men were so high and mighty in front of him, but in the end, they were trampled under his feet. However, what surprised the loser was that Xiaobui did not lose his mind or his IQ decreased at all. His reaction was very cold and calm. He just said bless you lightly, then turned around and left, went upstairs to his room. Loser. It feels so bad to hit cotton with your fist. What's wrong with this man? His fiancée was robbed, but he was not angry at all. Is he still a man? Chapter 1037 The Servant's Daughter Part 2. His fiancée was robbed, but he was not angry at all. Is he still a man? What the loser didn't know was that Xiaobui had someone else in his heart and didn't love outstanding women at all. In his eyes, outstanding women should have many suitors, including rich 2nd-generation suitors who kept pestering her. And she chose him, proving that she was better than those rich 2nd-generation suitors. However, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. No matter how good an outstanding woman is, Xiaobui doesn't like her. She only has her childhood sweetheart in her heart. The loser left with the outstanding woman in frustration. The engagement party could not continue, and the guests left one after another. The family of the outstanding woman felt sorry for the Xia family and left in embarrassment. Xia's father and mother thought their son was hit hard, and they temporarily stopped their plan to find another fiancé for their son. I think Xiaobui can live a stable life. Xiaobui was not angry and sad as others thought, he was happy in his heart. He even thanked the outstanding woman and the loser. After today's incident, he can at least have several more years without having to face the marriage candidate arranged by his parents. He would use these extra years to gain a firm foothold in the company and control the entire Xia family. At that time, his parents would no longer be able to interfere in his marriage. It would be a pity for him to confess to the person he liked. Su Qingni didn't know what Xiaobui was thinking. She thought he had lost face and felt sad. She entered the mansion at night, risking being discovered by others, and knocked on Xiaobui's door. Xiaobui heard the gentle knock on the door and immediately opened the door. Sure enough, it was the girl he liked standing outside. Xiaobui was happy in his heart, but he showed a sad expression on his face, and let Su Qingni into the room. "Boy, don't be sad. Miss Zhu is blind and she will regret it." Su Qingni was so focused on comforting her beloved that she didn't notice the joyful light on Xiaobui's face. No one knew what happened between the two people in the room afterwards, but the scene of Su Qingni entering Xiaobui's room was still seen by others. Xia's mother was embarrassed that day and was worried about her son. She couldn't sleep at night. She got up and wanted to heat a cup of milk to help her sleep, but she saw the daughter of the servant's family enter her son's room. Although the daughter of the servant was a good girl, in the eyes of Xia's mother, she was still not worthy of her son. Although her son suffered the drama of being slapped in the face by his fiancée and the male mistress at the engagement party, it did not affect his own excellence and good market among the daughters of aristocratic families. Without Miss Big, there were still Miss Mai and Miss Niu. These daughters were better than the daughters of servants in terms of family background, education and appearance. She and the child's father were definitely not willing to see their son being abandoned once and then degenerate into marrying a servant's daughter. Su Qingni looked okay before, but now she actually ran into a man's room in the middle of the night, which shows that she is a traitor. She used this method to seduce her son, which was too shameless. Such a woman must not be allowed to stay with her son. Su Qingni heard the door being gently pushed open and knew that Su Qingni was back. Without turning on the lights, Su Qingni walked into the bathroom in the dark, and after a long time, she entered the bedroom in the dark. The moonlight shone in through the window, making the room not dark, and some shadows could be dimly illuminated. This did not affect Su Qingni's side at all. Su Qingni clearly saw the purple marks on Su Qingni's body. Tisk, how intense it was. But it was normal. It was rare for two people in love to abandon their identities and other external factors and hug each other. It was inevitable that they would invest some. Su Qingni didn't know that Su Qingni was awake and was still secretly looking at herself. She had already touched the side of her bed, lay down on the bed, and fell asleep quickly. Well, this was too tired. The next day, the two sisters stayed in bed. Su Qingni enjoyed sleeping until she woke up naturally. This world was a peaceful and stable modern world. She didn't need to work hard to improve her martial arts value. And it was the last day of the weekend, and she didn't have to go to school. Su Qingni naturally slept as long as she wanted. Su's father and mother loved their two daughters very much. They felt that their two daughters worked hard to study and should have a good rest during the holidays. Therefore, they never lectured the two sisters about sleeping in. Of course, under normal circumstances, the two sisters would not sleep in. Su Qingni got up at 10 o'clock and walked out of the bedroom. She saw 2 fried dough sticks and 2 plates of side dishes on the dining table in the living room, and the cooked porridge was kept warm in the rice cooker in the kitchen. Su Qingni served herself a bowl of porridge and started to eat breakfast. While she was eating, Su Qingni, who was dressed, also walked out of the room. Wearing long clothes and long pants on a hot day of 30 degrees, it really makes things more obvious. "Qingni, you got up so late today too?" Su Qingni asked in surprise. "Doesn't your sister usually get up very early?" She said she wanted to use the morning time to study so that her mind would be clear and her study would be more efficient. Su Qingni said lazily, "I was tired yesterday and wanted to rest for a while." Su Qingni thought of the dance that was interrupted halfway yesterday, and her expression was a little bad. What kind of eyes does that Miss Zhu have? She actually looks down on Xiaobui and likes her loser. She then thought of the scene with Xiaobui last night, and her cheeks couldn't help but blush. Su Qingni stood up, took the bowl to the kitchen to wash it, and said to Su Qingni, who was still at the dining table, "Sister, I'm going out for a while, and I won't be back for lunch." "Where are you going? What are you going to do?" Su Qingni asked quickly. She is a good sister who cares about her sister. "I'm going to talk to the head teacher about skipping a grade next semester," Su Qingni said. She didn't want to go to school step by step. If Su Qingni and Xiaobui want to be together and reduce obstacles, it is necessary to improve the social status of the Su family. And this can't be counted on the Su family's parents. Only Su Qingni and Su Qingni can be counted on. Although Su Qingni is a good girl and is now a student at a key university, her ability is not enough to greatly improve the status of the Su family, so Su Qingni can only be counted on. Originally, she was a freshman in high school. Although her homework was good, she had not yet touched upon the knowledge of the second and third years of high school, so she could only go to school and take the college entrance examination step by step. But Su Qingni has replaced the original body. With her knowledge and soul strength, she can now take the college entrance examination and come back with a top scorer, so she doesn't want to waste 2 more years in high school. She doesn't want to go to college in China, but to go abroad. Studying in a foreign university, as long as you have enough credits, you can graduate in 1 year, which is more free than in China. And it is easier to get money abroad, go to Wall Street and make money from foreigners. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1038 The Servant's Daughter Part 3. The matter of skipping a grade was not particularly smooth when she asked her class teacher. The class teacher felt that although Su Qingni's grades were good, they were not good enough to skip a grade, and did not approve of Su Qingni's skipping a grade. Su Qingni persuaded the class teacher to agree to let Su Qingni take the test after school on Monday. The test score must be above 120 points to skip a grade. The full score is 150. Su Qingni nodded repeatedly to indicate that she accepted the class teacher's opinion. After leaving the class teacher's house, Su Qingni went to the internet cafe again and started her way of making money in those worlds, writing programs and selling them. It takes a lot of money to go abroad. Even if she believes that she can get a full scholarship from a prestigious foreign university with her ability, the living expenses and other miscellaneous expenses abroad are not small amounts. Su's father and mother have saved some money over the years, but Su Qingni doesn't want to use it. She is not the original body, so she can't use Su's father and mother's savings as a matter of course. It's better to leave this money to Su's father and mother for retirement. Su Qingni ordered takeout with her mobile phone, quickly finished her lunch, and then typed on the keyboard. It didn't take long for Su Qingni to type out a program that didn't exist in the world, and sent half of it to the company she found on the internet. Unexpectedly, the companies in this world responded so quickly. Not long after she sent it, a company called Su Qingni. This company had vision and sincerity. Su Qingni didn't wait for news from other companies and directly sold this program to the first company, earning 300,000 yuan. It wasn't much, but it wasn't a small amount either. At least Su Qingni earned the initial cost of going abroad. After leaving the internet cafe, Su Qingni went home. Living in someone else's house is really troublesome. Su Qingni thought about going to school to live when school starts next semester. Living in the employer's home always gives people a feeling of being dependent on others. Walking into the living room, Su Qingni heard Su Qingni crying in the bedroom. Su Qingni was puzzled. Wasn't she shy and happy in the morning? What happened now? Did Xiaobui turn his face and be ruthless after getting her and didn't want Su Qingni anymore? Su Qingni walked to the bedroom door and wanted to go in to ask and comfort Su Qingni. Su Qingni is a really good sister, and she treats the original body very well. Therefore, Su Qingni, who inherited the memory of the original body, also recognizes her as a sister. However, hearing that the people inside were crying so sadly, Su Qingni thought it would be better not to go in first. Su Qingni now probably won't listen to the consolation, and she probably wants to cry alone quietly. Su Qingni turned and left the house, went to the kitchen to help Su's mother with work, and asked about the situation of the Xia family. Xiaobui went out after lunch, and it was said that he was on a business trip. It should be that Xia's father and mother were worried that their son would be sad at home and worried about being laughed at by acquaintances, so they also let him go out for a while to relax in the name of a business trip, and let Xiaobui come back after things calmed down. Su Qingni did not comment on this. But Su Qingni would not cry because Xiaobui left, right? You know, she has been able to hold back her feelings for Xiaobui in her heart for so many years without showing it. It can be seen that she is a girl with a strong heart, And it is impossible for her to cry because her lover left. Where are Mr. Xia and Mrs. Xia? What's their reaction? Su Qingni asked with pretended curiosity. She had a hunch that Su Qingxi's crying was related to Xia's parents. Mother Su had no idea and said, Mr. Xia went to the company. I think he was dealing with a follow-up of what happened last night. It is said that the Xia family and the Zhu family had a cooperative project, but now the project will definitely not continue. Mrs. Xia asked your sister to talk after lunch. Mother Su said this with a smile and gratitude on her face. Mrs. Xia is a good person. She knows that your sister has good grades and offered to sponsor your sister to study abroad. This is really a pie in the sky. No wonder Su Qingxi cried. Mother Xia should have discovered the relationship between Su Qingxi and Xiaobui, right? It should be that Su Qingxi boldly ran into Xiaobui's room last night and was discovered by Mrs. Xia, right? Mother Xia's character is pretty good for sending Su Qingxi abroad to study without taking her anger out on Su's father and mother. But I think Su's father and mother won't be able to stay in the Xia family for long. When Su Qingxi goes abroad, Su's father and mother will also be fired by Xia's mother, right? It seems that I have to sell 2 more programs. At least I have to give Su's father and mother a home in this city. Su's mother said some gossip again, but Su Qingni ignored it. Those gossips were really meaningless. The chef is off today, and Su's mother made dinner. After more than 20 years, Su's mother's cooking skills are very good. It is not as good as the level of chefs in 5-star hotels, but it is better than the level of chefs in some restaurants. Maybe I can help Su's father and mother open a small restaurant? Exclamation mark. After Su's mother finished her work in the kitchen, she could rest. The 2 of them returned to their house with some food. Su's father went home not long after. Xia's father went home to eat, and he didn't have to go out again after dinner, so Su's father, the driver, also got off work. When I returned home, I didn't hear Su Qingxi crying again, but after she went out, the Su family still saw her red and swollen eyes. Qingxi, what's wrong with your eyes? Su's mother asked in surprise. Who offended you? Mom will vent your anger for you. No, no one. Su Qingxi said hurriedly, I just want to leave you, and I can't bear to leave. What do you mean by leaving us? Su's father asked in surprise. Where is Qingxi going? I'm going to study abroad. Su Qingxi said. Go abroad. Su's father's eyes bulged out. Why are you going abroad for no reason? Isn't it good to study in China? Why do you have to go abroad? You are unfamiliar with the place and it costs money. Don't worry about the money. Su's mother said hurriedly, Madam will sponsor Qingxi to study abroad. All expenses will be paid by Madam, so we don't have to pay. After hearing this, Su's father was happy and frowned, always feeling that it was not good for his family to take advantage of the Xia family without any merit. But his daughter's future is very important, and he couldn't say it to let his daughter refuse this opportunity. Su Qingxi said, I don't want to accept Mrs. Xia's financial support. Dad, Mom, lend me some money and I will go abroad first. I will pay you back when I make money. Su's mother couldn't understand why her eldest daughter refused such a good thing and asked, why don't you accept Madam Xia's financial support? Madam is kind. Su Qingxi smiled bitterly. Mother Xia was not kind at all. She wanted to separate herself from Xiaobui. Mom, although you work for the Xia family, you are not inferior to the Xia family. You have earned money through your own labor. But if I accept Mrs. Xia's financial support and take the Xia family's money, then I am inferior to them. How can I repay them for this kindness? Chapter 1039 The Servant's Daughter Part 4. I don't want to owe anyone a favor. I don't want to be inferior to others. I don't want to be unable to stand up straight in front of the Xia family in the future. What nonsense are you talking about, kid? What do you mean by inferior to others? What are you going to do in front of the Xia family? Su's mother didn't understand Su Qingxi. Although she was honest, she still had the idea of taking advantage of others. Su's mother thought it was a good thing that Xia's mother sponsored Su Qingxi to study abroad, and she didn't think much about the rest. With her knowledge, she couldn't think too deeply. But Su's father relaxed his frown after listening to Su Qingxi's words. Okay, let's do as you said. Your parents paid for your study abroad, and we don't need the Xia family's money. Su's father said, as you said, it's not good to owe favors to others. Mother, how much is our family's savings now? Su's mother was very unhappy when she heard Su's father's decision, but Su's father was the head of the family, and Su's mother would not resist his decision. There are 1,013,421 in our family's savings account. Su's mother replied. Su Qingni and Su Qingni both widened their eyes. They thought that although Su's father and mother had some savings, they would not have much. They did not expect that they actually had more than 1 million. With so much money, it would be enough for Su Qingni to live and study abroad for many years without her having to work to earn a living. But it is not surprising to think that there is so much. Although Su's father and mother's salary is not high, it is not low. They eat and live in the Xia family. They do not have to pay rent, water and electricity bills, and even food expenses. Except for the tuition and pocket money for their 2 daughters, the couple has no place to spend money. They save all of it. Now they have accumulated more than 1 million. Su's father asked Su Qingni, "Is this money enough for your overseas expenses?" "Enough, enough." Su Qingni nodded hurriedly. "Mom and Dad, give me 50,000 yuan tomorrow, and I will go to handle the overseas affairs." "Sister, you haven't chosen which university to study in yet. It's not good to go abroad like this, right?" Su Qingni reminded Su Qingni. Now she has not even passed the entrance exam of a foreign university. She has not even applied for admission. She cannot go to university abroad, and she cannot even get a university diploma in China. According to Su Qingni's idea, it is better for Su Qingni to apply to the university she is currently attending after school starts, and then go abroad as an exchange student. Su Qingni was admitted to a well-known key university in the country, which has friendly relations with many foreign universities and has many exchange student quotas every year. With Su Qingni's grades, it is not difficult to get an exchange student quota. Moreover, the exchange student does not need to pay for the school, but the student fully bears the cost of going abroad, so the student has a higher chance of getting a quota. Su Qingni smiled bitterly. How could she not know that this was the best way to deal with it? But Xia's mother did not want her to stay in China. Although Xia's mother did not explain it explicitly, Su Qingni felt the threat in Xia's mother's words and urged her to leave China before Xiaoboy returned from his business trip. "Qingni, my English level is not very good. I want to go to language school for a while and then apply to the university." Su Qingni said her plan. Su Qingni saw the bitter smile on Su Qingni's face and knew that Su Qingni had no choice. She smiled and asked, "Sister, have you decided which university to go to?" "I'd say Harvard. Among the foreign universities recognized by people in our country, Harvard is the most famous. If you go to Harvard University, our parents will have something to brag about when they go out." Su's mother nodded repeatedly as Su Qingni spoke. Su's mother didn't know much about which universities there were, except for the university her eldest daughter attended. She only knew Tsinghua University and Peking University abroad, and she only knew Harvard and Cambridge abroad. "I believe that most of the ordinary people in China are like this." Su Qingni couldn't help laughing after hearing her sister's words, and the sadness in her heart dissipated a little. "Do you think it's so easy to get into Harvard?" "I don't think I have the ability to get into Harvard, and it would be good enough if I could get into one of the Ivy League universities." Su's mother asked curiously, "Which university is the Ivy League university?" "This name sounds good. Evergreen, it has a good meaning." Su Qingni and Su Qingni looked at each other and couldn't help laughing. Su Qingni's mood recovered a little bit, and she explained to Su's mother and father what the Ivy League universities were. The Ivy League is also called the Ivy League, which is an alliance of top universities in the United States. This alliance includes Harvard University, and others include the University of Pennsylvania, Yale University, Princeton University, Columbia University, Dartmouth College, Brown University and Cornell University. In order to use these topics to adjust her mood, Su Qingni finished talking about the Ivy League and then talked about other university alliances in the world, such as the Nine Schools Alliance of Daxia, the Russell Group of British Universities, the Academic Research Forum of Nihon, the Paris High-Tech Engineers School Group of Perfume, the U15 University Alliance of Beer, and the U15 Research University Alliance of Maple Leaf, etc. The family listened to Su Qingni's speech while eating dinner. After the meal, Su Qingni's mood calmed down a lot. But she was still in a bad mood. After talking so much nonsense, Su Qingni no longer had the heart to deal with her parents and sister, so she found an excuse and went to bed to rest. The next day, Monday, Su Qingni returned to school. The first thing she did was to find her class teacher, who then went to find the school leaders and the head teacher of the senior class. Under their supervision, She wrote the test papers for each subject. After Su Qingni finished answering the test papers for a subject, a teacher helped to mark the papers. These teachers were all there to watch the fun. There was still a month before the college entrance examination, but a student in the first year of high school wanted to skip a grade and take the college entrance examination this year. This matter was a big deal in the school. The teachers all wanted to see what this overconfident student looked like. Many students came to admire the expert after hearing about it. The test papers were marked one by one, and the results blinded the teachers' eyes. The total score was 703 points. It was more than 10 points higher than the first place in the senior class, and 1 point more than the first place in the city. This set of papers was the second model test paper, and the difficulty was comparable to the college entrance examination paper. The principal and the head teacher of the senior class looked at Su Qingni with shining eyes. Good child. What a good child. With this child, this year's science college entrance examination champion will fall to their school. The teachers in the third grade began to compete, wanting Su Qingni to join their class and become their student. When Su Qingni passes the college entrance examination, their bonus will be doubled. How can they not grab such a big bargain? The teachers in the third grade were almost fighting for it, and in the end it was the principal who made the decision. Su Qingni will still be a student in class 1 of the first grade of senior high school, and will directly take the exam when the college entrance examination comes. Other teachers in the third grade of senior high school should not think about taking advantage. Chapter 1040 The Servant's Daughter 5. Su Qingni agreed with the principal's decision, but she asked the principal she would not study in school for the next month. After all, the classmates in the class were learning the content of the first year of high school. If she stayed in the classroom, she would affect her classmates. It would be better to let her go home to review. The principal naturally agreed. You know, the third year of high school will be on vacation in just half a month, so the candidates can go home to rest. Su Qingni was just half a month earlier than others, which was no big deal. Su Qingni then returned to her dormitory, packed her luggage, and left the dormitory with her luggage. Su Qingni did not go back to the residence of Su's father and mother in the Xia family. She didn't like the feeling of going in and out of the gate of the Xia family every time. Su Qingni put the packed bedding and some clothes into the old clothes recycling box in the mountainous area closest to the school, and the remaining wash basin and thermos were sent to the waste collection station. With only textbooks, study materials and a lunchbox on her, Su Qingni became refreshed and chose a clean and refreshing city inn and checked in. Every day, she would sleep until she woke up naturally. After getting up, she would first practice bodybuilding and health-preserving exercises for an hour. In this world, one cannot cultivate internal strength, but the health-preserving properties of health-preserving exercises still exist. If one practices them every day, one can live 100 years longer. Then, she would look through the textbooks and review the high school knowledge. With Su Qingni's strong consciousness, it would not be too easy to review these high school knowledge. Then, she would go out to find a delicious restaurant for lunch. Su Qingni had money in her hands, so she didn't care about the price of the food, but only about the taste. Lunch and dinner, in a month, Su Qingni had eaten at almost all the restaurants and restaurants nearby. In the afternoon, Su Qingni would write programs and sell them to make money, and by the way, she would use hacking skills to browse foreign networks to see if she could use hacking skills to earn foreign exchange. She really found it. No matter which world, there is no lack of gray areas. By selling programs, Su Qingni made more than 5 million yuan in just 1 week. And she made more foreign exchange, already making tens of millions of dollars. With so much money, Su Qingni stopped. This money was enough for her to live comfortably abroad, and even had the startup capital to go to Wall Street. After she stopped making money, Su Qingni spent her time applying for admission to foreign universities. She had done this procedure many times before, and once again she was familiar with it. After the college entrance examination was over and the results were sent to these schools, she would be able to get interview opportunities from these schools, and then receive admission notices from these schools. A week passed under Su Qingni's orderly arrangement. Su Qingni carried a small bag and went back to where Su's mother and father lived. She didn't want Su's father and mother to know that she had left school. Su Qingni was also at home, and she was packing her luggage. After a week, Su Qingni had completed the procedures for going abroad and was about to leave home. She was lucky. Although she didn't get the school's exchange student quota, one of the exchange students in the previous period was her friend. This girl named Zhang Jianing was 2 grades higher than Su Qingni. She graduated from the same high school and entered the same university as Su Qingni, so she met Su Qingni and became good friends because of their similar personalities. Su Qingni got in touch with Zhang Jianing and went to the United States. She would go to Zhang Jianing. Zhang Jianing was studying at the University of Southern California, so Su Qingni naturally chose to study at the University of Southern California after going abroad. However, whether she could be admitted to the university depended on Su Qingni herself. Su's mother took out 900,000 yuan from the family's savings and gave it to Su Qingni, leaving only 100,000 yuan in the family for emergencies. Su Qingni was deeply moved by so much money, and she suddenly felt a little sorry for her parents. She hoped that Mrs. Xia would not embarrass her parents after she left. They were old, and if they were fired by the Xia family, they would not know where to go. They would definitely not be able to find a relatively easy job like now, and finally they would have to return to their hometown. Su Qingni boarded the plane to go abroad with her worries about her parents and sister, and went abroad to work hard. As Su Qingni expected, Xia's mother found an opportunity to fire Su's father and mother shortly after she left. Su's father and mother were at a loss. They didn't know what they had done wrong, and Xia's mother would fire them. They stood outside the gate of the Xia family, not knowing where to go. They had lived and worked in the Xia family for 20 years, and they were not used to the outside world. They didn't even know how to find a job. And the most important thing was that they had no place to stay in this city, no home of their own. They only had a deposit of 100,000 yuan, and at most they could only buy a bathroom and a kitchen. What should they do? Go back to their hometown? No. The youngest daughter was about to take the college entrance examination, and she would need tuition and living expenses to go to college in the future. How could they make money to pay for their daughter's tuition if they went back to their hometown? And if they left the city, it would affect their daughter's college entrance examination. Su's father and mother were about to cry. At this time, Su Qingni came to the two of them and took them to a shop. The shop had its own kitchen and bathroom, as well as a small attic where people could live, and the shop below was used for business. Su Qingni settled Su's father and mother in the attic, which had been decorated and fully equipped with furniture and electrical appliances. Qingni, did you rent this place? How much does it cost a month? Why did you rent such a shop? Su's father and mother walked around the shop and asked Su Qingni in confusion. Su Qingni smiled and asked, Mom and Dad, what do you think of using this shop to do food business? Su's father's eyes lit up. You want us to do food business? Su Qingni nodded. Yes, Mom's cooking skills are good, comparable to the chefs of 3-star hotels. Doing food business will definitely attract a lot of customers. Su's mother was moved. This is a good idea, husband. Let's open a small restaurant. I will be the chef and you will be responsible for collecting money. Su's father nodded. Well, it's good to open a restaurant. In this way, there is no need to go back to my hometown, and I can continue to stay in the city to work and make money. My daughter, I think the location of this shop is good. The rent should be very expensive, right? Su's mother asked worriedly. She was afraid that the money she earned from getting up early and going to bed late every day would not be enough to pay the rent of the shop. Su Qingni smiled. Mom and Dad, I didn't rent this shop, I bought it. What? Su's father and mother said in unison. You bought it? Where did you get so much money to buy a shop? They were both very worried, afraid that their little daughter had done something wrong and earned ill-gotten gains. Qingni, return this shop quickly, take the money, your mother and I will accompany you to the police station to turn yourself in. Su's father said fearfully. Su Qingni. Chapter 1041 The Servant's Daughter VI. Su Qingni told her father and mother about her writing programs and selling them for money. They were so surprised that they couldn't close their mouths for a long time. When they reacted, they all smiled and were happy for their daughter. My daughter is a genius. Su's mother said happily. Su's father nodded repeatedly, thinking that his younger daughter was better than his older daughter. Su's father, your sister has gone abroad to study. Do you want to study abroad too? Su's father's thoughts are very simple. If his older daughter can study abroad, his younger daughter is even better, so they have to send her abroad to study. Although they don't have much savings now, they can make more money. They have a shop now. Su Qingni smiled and nodded. I plan to go abroad after the college entrance examination. Su's father and mother were happy and touched when they heard this. They felt that their younger daughter had grown up and could not only make money, but also had her own life plan. Then do you want to go to the same school as your sister? Su's mother asked. She wanted her two daughters to go to the same city and the same school so that they could take care of each other. Su Qingni shook her head and said, I don't know which school I'm going to yet. I've applied to several schools. Ah, is your sister's school among them? Su's mother continued to ask. Su Qingni continued to shake her head. I applied to all Ivy League universities. Su's mother's mouth became an O shape. She had heard her eldest daughter introduce Ivy League universities. They were all the best universities in the world. The eldest daughter didn't dare to hope for it. As expected of the youngest daughter, who can make a lot of money at such a young age. Su's mother praised her youngest daughter. Su's father supported his youngest daughter even more. He was very confident in his youngest daughter and felt that his youngest daughter would definitely be able to go to an Ivy League university. With a future path arranged by Su Qingni for them, Su's father and mother began to get busy with interest. When Su Qingni returned home next week, the small restaurant would be open. Su Qingni had already checked out of the inn. The senior high school students in the school were on vacation, so Su Qingni naturally had to go home. But fortunately, Su's father and mother no longer worked at the Xia family. Su Qingni was treated like a little ancestor at home. Su's father and mother would not let Su Qingni do anything. Su's mother made soup for Su Qingni every day, and Su's father peeled fruit for Su Qingni. Su Qingni felt that she was almost useless because of their service. It was very stressful, okay? Fortunately, it was only half a month before Su Qingni entered the examination room. The college entrance examination was easy for Su Qingni. She entered the examination room easily and left the examination room easily. After the college entrance examination, Su's father and mother no longer cared about Su Qingni, and they put all their energy into the small restaurant. Su's mother's good craftsmanship made the business of the small restaurant better and better. The two of them were too busy, so they hired 3 more people to work. After half a month, the turnover of this small restaurant reached more than 60,000 yuan. After deducting costs and other miscellaneous items, the couple earned 40,000 yuan in 2.5 months, which was more than 3 times the salary they earned from working in the Xia family. This made the couple very happy. Although it was a bit tiring to open a restaurant, the high return made them satisfied. In a blink of an eye, the college entrance examination results came out. As expected, Su Qingni became the top scorer in the college entrance examination. When the reporter came to the family for an interview, Su's father and mother were smiling so hard that their faces broke. On that day, all customers who came to the restaurant to eat enjoyed a 20% discount. The school principal, the head teacher of the senior year, and Su Qingni's original head teacher of the first year of high school also smiled so hard that their faces broke. Especially the head teacher of the first year of high school. She received a huge bonus because of Su Qingni's rise, which made the head teachers of the third year of high school jealous. The school gave Su Qingni a considerable amount of bonus and asked Su Qingni which university she wanted to attend. The principal hoped that Su Qingni could go to Peking University or Tsinghua University, which would give the school more face and be a better recruitment advertisement for the school. Su Qingni told the principal that she would not attend a domestic university and had already applied for a foreign university. The principal's eyes lit up when he heard this. In this era, there are still many people who worship foreign things and think that the moon is rounder abroad. Although the principal was not a foreigner, he understood that if Su Qingni really applied to a famous foreign university, it would be more beneficial to the school's reputation, so he expressed strong support for Su Qingni and wanted to use his connections to help Su Qingni. Su Qingni politely declined. She had the ability to get accepted by a famous foreign university, so of course she would not owe anyone a favor. The principal was a little disappointed, but he did not show it, and continued to focus on Su Qingni. After the results came out, Su Qingni sent the results to several universities, and soon got the opportunity to interview. For the interview, Su's father and mother took out 20,000 yuan from their savings to buy Su Qingni a most advanced and best laptop. The interview was very successful, and soon after, Su Qingni received admission letters from 3 universities. They were admission letters from Harvard University, Yale University and Princeton University. Su Qingni placed the 3 letters in front of Su's father and mother, making them smile. The two had never heard of Yale University and Princeton University, and they didn't know that Princeton University was ranked higher than Harvard University in the United States. They had only heard of Harvard University, so they urged their daughter to choose Harvard University. Su Qingni obediently agreed to her parents. For her, it was the same to go to any school. It would be better to make her parents happy. The principal was very happy to know that Su Qingni was going to Harvard University, and hung a banner at the school gate, celebrating that our school's top scorer in the college entrance examination was admitted to Harvard University. Many people saw this banner and yearned for it. As the principal expected, the school's freshman enrollment rate in the new year increased by at least 20%. A month later, Su Qingni packed her gifts, said goodbye to Su's father and mother, and left the city by plane. When entering the airport, Su Qingni passed by Xiaobui, who was returning from a business trip. Su Qingni couldn't see how Xiaobui behaved after returning to the Xia family and finding that not only his beloved woman but also his parents and sister had left. She was staring at Su Qingxi now, or to be more precise, she was staring at Su Qingxi's belly. Although she didn't show her pregnancy, Su Qingxi's movements explained the problem. Su Qingni said, "Didn't you take precautions when you did that with Xiaobui?" Su Qingxi blushed and shook her head. Su Qingni continued to ask, "Didn't you ever think about taking birth control pills afterwards?" Su Qingxi's face became even redder. "Well, I forgot." Su Qingni gave a fake smile and continued to ask, "Then what are you going to do? Abort the child or give birth to it?" "Of course I'll give birth to it," Su Qingxi said loudly. "This is the fruit of my love with Boy, and it's the proof of our love. I don't want to lose him." Chapter 1042 The Servant's Daughter 7. After Su Qingni arrived in the United States, she did not register at school first, but went to visit Su Qingxi first to see how she was doing in the United States. Su Qingxi was surprised and happy about her sister's arrival, and was proud of her sister. Of course, she was a little embarrassed. She had not even entered the University of Southern California, but her sister was already a student at Harvard University. Her sister had become so outstanding without her knowing it. She always felt that the extra years she had lived were wasted. Su Qingxi took Su Qingni back to her residence. She lived in an apartment near the University of Southern California. In addition to Su Qingxi and her friend Zhang Jianing, there were 10 students from the University of Southern California living in this apartment, all from all over the world, including whites, yellows, and blacks, like a small United Nations. Zhang Jianing welcomed Su Qingni's arrival and even offered to treat Su Qingni and Su Qingxi to a big meal. Su Qingni refused, but instead made an authentic flower-growing country meal for the two of them in the apartment and invited other tenants to eat together. The food of the flower country was praised by other tenants and brought them closer to each other. Su Qingni suggested that others take care of Su Qingxi, and everyone agreed. Because they knew that Su Qingxi could also cook the food of the flower country and promised everyone to cook a big meal once a week and share it with everyone. For the sake of food, these people had no choice. When Su Qingni brought a plate of fried fish, Su Qingxi had a retching reaction. Su Qingni stared at Su Qingxi for a long time, and after dinner, she took her to the hospital for an examination, and then the conversation at the end of the previous chapter happened. Su Qingxi decided to give birth to the child, even if giving birth would delay her schooling. But her will was very firm. She loved the father of the child, and she loved the child in her belly. It would be inconvenient to live in the apartment. Not to mention other things, the crying and making trouble every day after the child was born would affect other tenants. Su Qingni simply took out money and bought a house near this apartment and asked Su Qingxi to move in. Through the introduction of the students in the apartment, she found an honest and capable black woman to take care of Su Qingxi. Money was spent like water, which made Su Qingxi feel heartbroken. She had 900,000 yuan given to her by her mother and father, but she was reluctant to spend it. After coming to the United States, she lived very frugally and even found a job to work and study at the same time. Su Qingxi spent the money in half, but her sister spent it lavishly. Although she was the beneficiary, Su Qingxi covered her chest and kept shouting to stop. "Sister, this money cannot be spent. You are a pregnant woman now. You need a good living environment and someone who can take care of you. Otherwise, you will be in poor health during pregnancy, which will not only affect the development of the baby in your belly, but also be more dangerous than ordinary pregnant women during childbirth." Su Qingni talked about various precautions for pregnant women. Su Qingxi quickly stopped and said that she knew all these precautions, and even if she didn't know them, she would read books. When she heard that she was pregnant, her sister bought a lot of books about pregnant women and babies. Su Qingxi said, "Qingni, your money is all your parents' money for your tuition. You can't spend it all on me." She was a little confused. When she went abroad, her parents had almost given her all the savings at home. How could they have money for her sister? Looking at her sister's spending these days, she spent at least millions of dollars. Where did the family get so much money? Could it be that her parents asked the Xia family for money? Thinking of this possibility, Su Qingxi's face turned bad. Su Qingni smiled and said, "Sister, don't worry about the money. I have money. I made a lot of money before I came to the United States." Huh? You made money yourself? Hearing that she didn't ask the Xia family for money, Su Qingni's face looked better, and then she was full of surprise and confusion. How did you make money? Millions of dollars, converted into millions of RMB. Her sister is just a high school student. How can she make so much money? Su Qingni replied, "I wrote a few programs and sold them to a big company, making millions." She didn't say the specific amount, letting Su Qingxi think for herself. Su Qingxi opened her mouth wide and couldn't close it for a long time. After a long while, Su Qingxi closed her mouth and said quietly, "Sister, you are so discouraging. Compared with you, I am so ashamed to death. No, if you die, what will happen to my nephew?" Su Qingni laughed. "Sister, don't think too much. The most important thing now is to adjust your mood and take care of your body, and give birth to a healthy nephew for me in a few months." Su Qingxi stroked her belly with both hands, her eyebrows became gentle, and she responded, "Well, I will definitely take good care of myself and the child. For the sake of the child, even if she owes her sister more money, she is willing. When she works and makes money in the future, she will pay the money back to her sister. Although they are sisters, she can't spend her sister's money in vain. Sisters should settle accounts clearly." Su Qingni stayed with Su Qingxi for more than 10 days. After arranging Su Qingxi, she set off for Massachusetts to enroll in Harvard University. Harvard's business school is the most famous, so Su Qingni chose to study at the business school, and also took minors in law and psychology. These two subjects at Harvard University are also ranked first in the world university rankings. Studying is very intense, but it is not a problem for Su Qingni at all. She can easily cope with the study of 3 subjects, and she has time to go to Los Angeles to visit Su Qingxi on weekends. Su Qingxi is in good health. The black lady is a responsible person, and she also likes food and cooking. She is very interested in the food of the flower country. She learned how to make the food of the flower country from Su Qingxi, and she would make soup for Su Qingxi every day, making Su Qingxi plump and white. Well, mainly because Su Qingxi's body did not make her care about her image, she ate freely, wanting to give her child adequate nutrition. At most, she would lose weight after giving birth to the child. Su Qingxi did not give up studying. While studying at the language school, she prepared to submit various materials for the admission application to the University of Southern California. She wanted to study at the University of Southern California immediately after giving birth to the child. Su Qingni expressed her support for this. "Study well, spend all your time studying, you won't always miss your child's father, and you won't be sad." Half a year passed quickly. Su Qingni had a vacation, and Su Qingxi gave birth to her and Xiaoboi's child. This is a cute boy. Su Qingxi named him Su Li, hoping that the child can be happy every day. Chapter 1043 The Servant's Daughter Part 8. Su Qingni hired a nanny to take care of the child for Su Qingxi, but Su Qingxi didn't want one because she thought it was a waste of money. Su Qingni smiled and said, "It's okay, we have money." Su Qingxi asked worriedly, "You won't save money at school and spend it all on me, right?" She is now in a foreign country, and she has to pay for everything she eats, wears, and wires. Only then did she realize the importance of money. The 900,000 yuan given by her parents is really not enough to spend. Especially after having a child. The baby's supplies are more expensive than those for adults. Su Qingni smiled, "Am I a person who wrongs myself? Don't worry, I earn the money myself. My computer skills are more popular abroad." Su Qingxi was relieved when she heard this. She thought Su Qingni still made money by selling programs, but she didn't know that Su Qingni made money by hacking skills. It is easier to get orders abroad than in China. Su Qingni didn't tell Su Qingxi that she was going to Wall Street, so as not to worry Su Qingxi. After staying with Su Qingxi and her child for a few days, Su Qingxi left and went to Wall Street. Su Qingni thrived on Wall Street, and it didn't take long for her to multiply her funds 5-fold. After making enough quick money in the short term, Su Qingni set her sights on stocks of companies with development potential that could be held for a long time. Su Qingni had been on Wall Street for a few years, so she knew exactly which companies had promising prospects. Su Qingni bought stocks of these companies little by little. These companies are just new companies that have only been in business for a few years, and they will grow into one of the world's top 500 companies in a few years. These companies are local to the United States, Hong Kong, and 2 companies in the flower country. With shares in the 2 companies in the flower country, when their companies develop in the future, Su Qingni will enter the circle of the wealthy and be able to sit on an equal footing with the Xia family. After Su Qingni made money, she revealed to Su Qingxi that she went to Wall Street and let Su Qingxi see her earnings. Su Qingxi was amazed and no longer worried about her sister's involvement in Wall Street. She finally understood that her sister was excellent, very excellent, and she couldn't even flatter her. It was as easy for her younger sister to make money as drinking water. She couldn't doubt her younger sister's ability to make money just because she didn't have the ability. So she shouldn't worry about anything. Su Qingni asked Su Qingxi for 100,000 RMB, saying that she was helping Su Qingxi invest. Su Qingxi gave the money to Su Qingni with great trust. Half a year later, Su Qingni turned the 100,000 RMB into 500,000 US dollars, and a year later, 500,000 US dollars became 5 million. Su Qingni also used the money to help Su Qingxi buy the stocks of the 2 companies. Su Qingni wanted to help Su Qingxi become one of the major shareholders of the 2 companies, so that she could stand in front of Mrs. Xia with her head held high. Although the Xia family was rich, the scale of their company was not as large as these 2 companies. At least the Xia family didn't love Wall Street listing. The days passed by in Su Qingni's busyness. Su Qingxi had her younger sister to help her, and she lived a good life. She didn't give up studying during her pregnancy, so she received an admission letter from the University of Southern California not long after she finished her confinement. With a dedicated nanny to take care of the children, Su Qingxi can go to school without worry. 5 years passed in a flash, and Su Qingxi graduated from USC, and she decided to return to China. Now she has a degree and money, and she feels that she can stand beside Xiaobo. Su Qingxi has never forgotten Xiaobo over the years. Su Qingni knew her worries, so she hired a private detective to help her find out about Xiaobo. Su Qingni gave her a lot of money, and the private detective gave very detailed information, sending a copy every once in a while. Su Qingxi knew about Xiaobo's experience over the years. Xiaobo did not get married and devoted himself to his work. Xia's mother wanted to introduce another daughter-in-law to her son, but Xiaobo refused because he was slapped in the face at the engagement banquet and had a shadow in his heart. Xia's mother knew that her son had someone in his heart, or a woman she looked down on, but the reason given by her son was too strong, and she didn't know how to refute it. Even Xia's father asked her to take a break first and not force his son. What can Xia's mother do? Just hold it in. Xiaobo only had Su Qingxi in his heart, and he looked for Su's family everywhere. Later, he really found Su's family and learned about Su Qingxi's going abroad. Xiaobo would visit Su's father and mother's shop every once in a while, and secretly ask someone to take care of Su's shop. He was very thoughtful. He got Su Qingxi's contact information from Su's father and mother, but he didn't dare to contact Su Qingxi. He understood why Su Qingxi suddenly went abroad, because she was forced by her mother. Xiaobo was worried that Su Qingxi would be angry with him, and he felt a little homesick. After Su Qingxi knew this, she thought about whether to contact Xiaobo on her own initiative. In the end, she suppressed this idea. She wanted to see how long Xiaobo could stick to this relationship. Don't blame her for being selfish. There were already 2 obstacles between her and Xiaobo, Xia's mother and Xia's father. If Xiaobo himself did not insist and finally wavered, then they would definitely not be able to get together in the end. She is now fighting for 2 people, and she also wants to see Xiaobo struggle. Sister, are you ready? It's time to go. Su Qingni stood in front of Su Qingxi's bedroom door with a beautiful little boy and called her. The little boy was Su Li, the son of Su Qingxi and Xiaobo. The little guy inherited the good looks of his parents and was a handsome boy. He was also smart. Su Qingni gave Su Qingxi a lot of books on educating children. She also taught the child every time she had a holiday. She taught the child very well. The child was sensible and polite, and had a good ability to absorb knowledge. Although he was only 4 years old, he already had the knowledge level of a 3rd-grade primary school student, and could speak English and Chinese fluently. The little guy liked Su Qingni, his aunt, the most, more than his own mother. Every time Su Qingni came to their house, he would leave his own mother and follow behind his aunt. Su Qingni was so angry that she laughed and said that the little guy was heartless. Let's go. Su Qingni pulled the handle of the suitcase and walked towards the door. Su Qingni held her nephew in one hand and her own suitcase in the other, and followed Su Qingni out of the apartment where the Su family and her son had lived for 5 years. This apartment was bought by Su Qingni, and she had entrusted the house to a real estate agency under her name. After they left, the agency would rent it out. This house is close to the University of Southern California, so it is very easy to rent out, and the rent will not be cheap. However, these rents are just a drop in the bucket for Su Qingni, who is now rich and powerful. She is now one of the shareholders of several multinational groups and is very famous in the financial circle of the United States. Su Qingni has not been in vain in these years abroad. Chapter 1044 The Servant's Daughter 9. Su Qingni's years abroad were not in vain. In terms of academics, Su Qingni completed the credits of 3 subjects in 3 years and obtained the bachelor's degree certificates in 3 subjects. It took another 2 years for Su Qingni to obtain a master's degree in law and management, and also took a lawyer's license exam. In terms of making money, there is no need to go into details. Anyway, Su Qingni is now a wealthy person. Although she does not have her own company, she has influence on many multinational companies. The 2 sisters took the little one on the plane back to China. Su Qingni bought a first-class ticket and lay in a comfortable chair to watch TV. There was a movie on TV. The male protagonist in it was an old vegetable who pretended to be young, which made people feel distracted. However, the second male lead was a handsome guy, young, handsome and had acting skills. Su Qingni felt that this person was very suitable for her. At the end of the movie, she looked at the cast list and wrote down the second male lead's name, Li Yuanmen. The plane finally stopped. The 2 sisters took the children to the outside of the airport. When they arrived at the pickup gate, they saw Su's father and mother. In order to take their 2 daughters home, Su's father and mother closed the shop for a day and stopped doing business. Seeing their 2 beautiful daughters, who were even more beautiful and more imposing than before going abroad, Su's father and mother almost cried, but their mouths were wide open. Mom and Dad. Su Qingni and Su Qingni walked up and hugged Su's father and mother respectively. Su's father and mother were a little overwhelmed by such enthusiasm, but their hearts were warm. Su's mother's tears rolled down directly. It's good to be back, it's good to be back. Su Qingni patted Su's mother on the back to comfort her. Su Qingni pulled the little guy in front of her and said to Su's father and mother, Mom and Dad, this is your grandson, Lele. After that, she asked the little guy to call Grandpa and Grandma. The little guy called sweetly, and he looked as cute as he could be. Su's father and mother were stunned by the call. Qingni, where did this child come from? Su's father asked stutteringly. How come the eldest daughter brought back a grandson after going abroad? Wasn't she bullied abroad? Dad, this is my son, my biological son. Su Qingni said hurriedly. Su Qingni picked up the little guy and pulled the luggage out of the airport first. The current atmosphere is not suitable for children. We can't let the child think that grandparents don't like him. Su Qingni walked behind with Su's father and mother, and explained to the 2 elders in a low voice. Su's father and mother also knew that this kind of thing was not glorious, so they kept their voices very low. Who is the father of the son? Su's father asked. He must teach any bastard who bullied his daughter. Even if that bastard stayed abroad, he would go abroad and beat him up. Su Qingni bit her lip and said Xiaoboi's name. Su's father and mother were shocked. The child's father is the eldest son of the Xia family? Thinking of Xia's mother's sudden move to sponsor Su Qingni to study abroad, and thinking of the 2 of them being expelled from the Xia family, even if they were not very smart, the couple reacted. Su Qingni held on to her father tightly. Dad, don't go. I don't blame him, and you shouldn't blame him either. I did everything voluntarily. Su's mother also held on to her father. Don't be so impulsive. What if you hit Xiaoboi and he gets angry and doesn't want to be with our daughter? Now Qingni has his child, and the 2 must get married. What if Xiaoboi doesn't want to marry Qingni because of you? Su's father snorted. The Xia family looks down on our family. How could they let Xiaoboi marry our daughter? Su's mother rarely showed off her knowledge. This is a different time. Now our Qingni has given Xiaoboi a son. How can the Xia family not recognize their grandson? Su's father thought about it and said to Su Qingni, what do you think? Do you want to continue to be with Xiaoboi? Su Qingni nodded naturally. Mom and Dad, don't worry, I know what's going on. I have been paying attention to Boy's movements over the years. I know he's waiting for me, so I came back to find him. Su's father and mother thought of Xiaoboi's frequent visits to the two of them. They didn't know why before, but now they know. Xiaoboi is really thoughtful. Su's mother said to her husband, don't worry about the child. It's just that Mr. Xiao and Mrs. Xiao may have trouble, but we have our precious grandson. They should accept Qingxia, right? Su's father was unsure. It's hard to say. Call Xiaoboi first. Su's father and mother had Xiaoboi's contact information. Su's father took out his mobile phone and called Xiaoboi. The call was quickly connected, and Xiaoboi's voice came from it. Uncle Su, what do you want to talk to me about? Su's father, Qingxia is back. Before he finished speaking, the phone was hung up. Su's father was stunned, and then he said angrily, Xiaoboi hung up my phone. Dad, don't be angry, I don't think Boy meant it. Su Qingxia hurriedly helped Xiaoboi speak. Father Su nodded, I understand. He must have heard the news of your return and rushed here immediately. Dad, I'm not forgiving that guy, but I can see clearly that he is sincere to you, otherwise he would not have taken care of me and your mother for so many years. Father Su said, your mother and I will not object to your marriage. But how to make Mr. Xiao and Mrs. Xiao accept you is up to you. Dad, Mom. Su Qingxia was so moved that her voice choked. Mother Su took her eldest daughter's shoulders and said, don't cry, your son is watching you. Su Qingxia looked up and saw her sister holding her son standing at the gate waiting for them. The son's clear and bright eyes flickered, and when he looked at people's hearts softened. Su Qingxia couldn't help but smile and said to Father and Mother Su, my son is the cutest. Father and Mother Su looked at the soft and cute little grandson and nodded repeatedly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1045 The Servant's Daughter. Xiaoboi moved very quickly. When Su Qingni and her group returned home, he had been waiting downstairs at Su's house for a long time. Su's father and mother no longer lived in the restaurant. Su Qingni sent them some money and asked them to buy a house with 3 bedrooms and 2 living rooms. The area is not large, but Su Qingxia will not live at home for too long. Su Qingni is sure that Su Qingxia will marry Xiaoboi soon, and seeing Xiaoboi rushing over when he heard the news of Su Qingxia's return, she knew that the day of their marriage is not far away. Seeing Xiaoboi leaning against a car, Su Qingxia paused. Xiaoboi felt something and looked over, and their eyes met in midair. Su Qingxia's tears fell immediately. Xiaoboi was extremely distressed, strode towards Su Qingxia, and hugged Su Qingxia in his arms. The two people showed their true feelings, and the people around them could not interfere. Su Qingni simply hugged her nephew and asked her parents to go upstairs and go home. Su's father and mother had prepared a lot of delicious food. When they got home, they immediately cut watermelon and placed it in front of Su Qingni and Su Li. Su's mother went into the kitchen to prepare the meal. Su's father sat next to the little guy, talking to him, watching him smile from ear to ear. Xiaoboi and Su Qingxia stayed downstairs for a long time before going upstairs. Su Qingxia must have told Xiaoboi about the child downstairs. As soon as Xiaoboi entered the room, he greeted Su's father and mother first, then picked up Su Li and said excitedly, Li, I'm Dad. Su Li was startled by Xiaoboi's sudden action, but then he reacted and looked at Su Qingni. After Su Qingni nodded in approval, the child spoke. Dad. The soft childish voice went straight into Xiaoboi's heart, making Xiaoboi's heart soften. Su's father went into the kitchen to help Su's mother, and Su Qingni also went into the room to pack her luggage, leaving the living room space for the family of 3. The food was ready, and everyone sat at the table. Xiaoboi did not pick up the bowl or chopsticks, but said to Su's father and mother solemnly, Uncle Su, Aunt Su, I want to marry Qingxia, please marry your daughter to me. Su's mother looked at Su's father. Su's father also had a serious expression and said, there is no problem on our side, but what about your parents? Will they agree to you marrying Qingxia? They will agree. Xiaoboi said firmly. He must marry Su Qingxia and cannot let his son become an illegitimate child. No matter what method he uses, he must get his parents' consent. Su Qingni said, Brother Xia, The Xiaoshan group will hold a board meeting the day after tomorrow, right? Xiaobui nodded and asked Su Qingni, how did you know? Su Qingni smiled slightly. Before I returned to China, I asked my friends to help me buy some shares of the Xiaoshan group. Xiaobui was shocked. The largest shareholder of the company is the Xia family, and he naturally knew about the other equity changes. But he only found out that someone abroad had acquired the shares of the Xiaoshan group, but he didn't know who that person was. Was it Su Qingni? Where did she get so much money? Su Qingni understood what Xiaobui was thinking and explained. Qingni wrote a few softwares and sold them for some money. Later, she invested the money in the stock market and made a lot of money. When she was abroad, she would hang out on Wall Street whenever she had a holiday. Xiaobui looked at Su Qingni in surprise. He knew how difficult it was to get into Wall Street. Yes, Wall Street often produces legends, but more people fail. Many people invest their money in Wall Street and don't even see a splash. Su Qingni can make money from Wall Street, which shows that she is a genius among geniuses in finance. Qingni, are you interested in working in summer? Xiaobui didn't want to let go of this talent. Su Qingni smiled, I am a lazy person. I don't like a restrained working environment. I don't want to work in any company. Su's father and mother were anxious when they heard it. How can they not go to work in the company? How can they make money to support themselves? Yes, as parents, they can support their daughter, but if the two of them leave, who can Su Qingni rely on to support her? Husband? But men are unreliable. Women still have to rely on themselves. Su Qingni chuckled and said, Qingni has a lot of businesses, and she can support herself without working. Su's father and mother looked at their eldest daughter. What did she mean? Su Qingni understood their doubts and explained them. My younger sister owns shares in so many multinational corporations, and the dividends she gets every year are 9 figures or more. Su's father and mother were stunned. It turned out that their youngest daughter was so rich. Would their family also become a wealthy family? Wouldn't they catch up with the Xia family? Su's father and mother looked at their youngest daughter, then at their eldest daughter and Xiaobui, straightened their chests, and felt confident. Xiaobui was also surprised by Su Qingni's assets and her ability to make money. Originally, he was only 50% sure of persuading his parents. This 50% confidence came from his lovely son, but now he is 70% or 80% sure. The current economic conditions of the Su family are no worse than those of the Xia family. And Su Qingni can enter the circle of wealthy people at any time as long as she is willing. The remaining 2 or 3 points should be the experience of Su's father and mother working in the Xia family. Xia's father is more practical and will not care about these, but Xia's mother is very proud and will definitely feel uncomfortable. This opposition came from Xia's mother. But Xia's mother has to listen to Xia's father. When the board of directors meeting is held, Su Qingni will attend the meeting as the second largest shareholder of Xia Tian. For the shares in Su Qingni's hands, Xia's father will definitely support Xiaobui and Su Qingni to get married. Thinking of this, Xiaobui also smiled and said to Su Qingni, when the board of directors meeting is held, I will introduce other shareholders to you. Su Qingni smiled, no, you can introduce my sister to your future wife. Xiaobui and Su Qingni blinked, what do you mean? Su Qingni, I decided to transfer all the shares of Xia Tian to my sister as her wedding gift. Xiaobui and Su Qingni were both shocked. This wedding gift is too expensive. No, I don't want it. Su Qingni refused. Sister, Xia Tian's shares are nothing to me, it's no big deal, just take it. Su Qingni's smile became more profound. I forgot to tell you that the industries you asked me to help you invest in also have shares of Xia Tian Group, although not much, about 5%. Xiaobui. Su Qingni. 5% of Xia Tian Group's shares? Exclamation mark. You still say it's not much? Xiaobui, as the son of Xia's father and now the general manager of Xia Tian Group, only holds 5% of the shares. Su Qingni, as the second largest shareholder, holds 20% of the shares. Now she has given all these shares to Su Qingni, and Su Qingni has 25% of the shares. Chapter 1046 The Servant's Daughter 11. Su Qingni holds 25% of the shares of Xia Tian Group, while the entire Xia family only holds 45% of the shares, which are also scattered among Xia's father and the Xia family. Xiaobui can imagine that after Xia's father knows the shares in Su Qingni's hands, he will pack himself up and send himself to Su Qingni's bed. Xiaobui couldn't help laughing, picked up the wine glass beside him and raised it to Su Qingni. Qingni, Thank you, I toast you a glass. Su Qingni raised her glass. The best way to thank me is to treat my sister and Lei well in the future. Xiaobui, they are my wife and son, I will naturally treat them well. Dad and Mom Su looked at this and that, their mouths wide open. They don't have to worry about their eldest daughter's marriage, the youngest daughter has helped solve it. Dad and Mom Su's worries and irritability were gone, and they took care of their cute little grandson with all their heart. Lei is a very lovable little guy, and he quickly conquered Dad and Mom Su and his biological father Xiaobui. After dinner, Xiaobui did not leave, but stayed at Su's house to accompany Su Qingni and Lei. At night, with the tacit consent of Su's father and mother, Xiaobui entered Su Qingni's room. As for Lei, he chose to sleep with his favorite aunt. The next day, Xiaobui went to work at Xiaotiang Group. Because he often had social events and returned to Xia's house late at night or did not return to Xia's house, Xia's mother and father were not worried, and they did not know that Su Qingni had returned. Xiaobui listened to Su Qingni's persuasion and did not confront his parents immediately. He was aroused by Su Qingni's evil taste and wanted to see what expression Xia's father had when Su Qingni attended the board meeting. What expression did Xia's mother have when she heard the news from the board of directors? Xiaobui was resentful of Xia's mother for driving Su Qingni out of the country. 3 days later, the board meeting of Xiaotiang Group was held. Xia's father and the members of the board of directors were very curious about who the second largest shareholder was. Su Qingni appeared in the meeting room in a professional suit, and her young appearance surprised everyone. People who did not know Su Qingni gave her a sentence of young and promising, and Xia's father looked at Su Qingni and felt familiar. Miss Su, have we met somewhere before? Xia's father asked. Su Qingni smiled politely. Mr. Xia, my father is Su Laoshi. Su Laoshi. Xia's father was stunned, remembering that this was the name of his former driver. This driver and his wife are both honest people. They have worked in the Xia family for 20 years. He is very satisfied with Su Laoshi, but his wife fired him without saying hello, which made him uncomfortable for a while. Later, he asked his wife what happened. His wife said that his eldest son had something fishy with Su Laoshi's eldest daughter. Only then did he let it go and no longer thought or about letting Su Laoshi come back to be his driver. His son is a dragon among men. The wife he finds in the future must be helpful to him. How can he marry the daughter of a servant? However, he is a little embarrassed now. The daughter of a servant can also turn over. Graduated from a famous foreign university, earned a lot of money, and became the second largest shareholder of the company controlled by the Xia family. If this person is unhappy and unites with other shareholders, the position of the Xia family in the company will be in jeopardy. No, this situation must not happen. Su Qingni must not be pushed to the opponent's side. The company's third largest shareholder, Lao Chen, has been eyeing the power from the Xia family. Lao Chen holds 18% of the shares of the Xiaotiang Group. He has already won over several shareholders. Their shares add up to 25%. If Su Qingni turns to their side again, they will have 50% of the shares, which exceeds the 45% of the Xia family. Moreover, the Xia family is not very united. If there is another traitor among them, the status of the Xia family is worrying. We must win over the young woman in front of us. Father Xia's eyes fell on his eldest son. Isn't Su Qingni in love with his eldest daughter? Then how about he support their relationship and agree to their marriage? It's worth it to exchange a son for control of the company. Father Xia's eyes narrowed slightly. Her reaction was seen by Su Qingni and Xiaobui. The two exchanged glances and were very happy. The board meeting ended smoothly. Su Qingni did not leave. She was taken directly to Father Xia's office by Xiaobui. Dad, Qingni and I are getting married. Xiaobui spoke directly to his father. Xia's father nodded. Let's get married. I agree. Then Mom, I'll go talk to her. Xia's father said, this is not the old society. There is no such thing as family status. Su Laoshi only works for our family, not selling himself to our family. We are all equal. Your mother's concept is too old-fashioned and should be discarded. Su Qingni and Xiaobui smiled at each other and were grateful to Su Qingni in their hearts. If it weren't for the Xiaotiang Group, Su Qingni would have graduated from a foreign university, and the Xia family would not have been able to let them be together. Who knows, the Xia family would have snatched Lei from Su Qingni. Thinking of such a scene, Su Qingni was scared. She had a feeling that if her sister hadn't gone abroad and didn't go to Wall Street, she and Xiaoboy would really face the scene they imagined. Who knows, her love with Xiaoboy is a tragedy. Dad, there's something I haven't told you yet. Xiaoboy said. What's the matter? Xia's father asked. The biggest problem Xiaoboy and Su Qingni faced in getting married was that Xia's mother was bothered by the fact that Su Qingni's parents used to be servants of the Xia family. He could help solve this problem. What other problems did these two have? Xiaoboy, well, Qingni got pregnant when she went abroad and gave birth to a lovely son for me. Dad, you're going to be a grandfather. What? Xia's father suddenly stood up from his chair and stared at Xiaoboy and Su Qingni in disbelief. Xiaoboy repeated, Dad, you're going to be a grandfather. The nine heavens thunder made Xia's father dizzy and he didn't react for a long time. After a long while, Xia's father finally reacted. You have a son. Xiaoboy and Su Qingni nodded in unison. Xia's father said, then you take the child home and let your mother see him. She won't object when she sees the child. Xia's father didn't have too many extravagant expectations for his grandson, but Xia's mother was determined to have a grandson. Now that she has a ready-made grandson, she should be happier. Although Father Xia could force Mother Xia to accept Su Qingni as her daughter-in-law, he would definitely feel uncomfortable and make things difficult for her. The daughter-in-law is now the god of wealth, so Mother Xia can't let her toss about it. Having a grandson would be much better. For the sake of her grandson, Mother Xia would be nicer to her daughter-in-law. Go home for dinner tonight and bring your son back with you. Chapter 1047 The Servant's Daughter's Eye. Father Xia got off work early today and went home to greet Mother Xia first, so that Mother Xia wouldn't give Su Qingni a cold shoulder after she came. When Mother Xia heard that Su Qingni was back and Xiaoboy still wanted to marry her, she immediately exploded and objected. Father Xia frowned. It's useless for you to object. I agree to this marriage. You actually let our son marry the daughter of a servant. Mother Xia shouted in disbelief, but then she realized that with her husband's sensible personality, he must have gained a lot of benefits from it to accept his eldest son marrying the daughter of a servant. What benefit can Su Qingni give you? Xia's mother asked. I don't believe that she can be successful enough to affect our family after going abroad. She is indeed successful. Xia's father said, the second largest shareholder of Xiatian Group. Is she successful? What? Impossible. Xia's mother didn't believe it. How could she, a poor girl from a servant's family, have the money to become a shareholder of Xiatian Group? Xia's father snorted and said, nothing is absolute in the world, and heroes don't ask where they came from. Our Xia family was also born from poor peasants 3 generations ago, and we got rich when the times were good. Let's not talk about the Xia family. Isn't your Li family the same? Don't think you are much more noble than others. I heard that your grandfather was a long-term worker for others before the founding of the People's Republic of China, and your grandmother was also a maid in a wealthy family. Aren't you also the descendant of a servant family? Xia's mother was choked by Xia's father's words, her face turned pale and blue, and she wanted to rush over and bite Xia's father. But Xia's father looked at her coldly, and Xia's mother could only sit down obediently with frustration. Father Xia told Mother Xia, Su Qingni must marry Boyi. You have to accept it even if you don't want to. Boyi brought Su Qingni back for dinner today. You should be nice to her. Mother Xia snorted. Why should I curry favor with her? Father Xia, because she owns 25% of the company's shares, and because she can bring more benefits to the Xia family. Mother Xia. Mother Xia's face was very ugly, but she still agreed to Father Xia's request, and could only reluctantly recognize Su Qingni as her daughter-in-law. There was no other way. Although she was born in a wealthy family, she couldn't bring huge benefits to the Xia family like Su Qingni. Seeing that Mother Xia agreed, Father Xia's tone softened a little. Don't be too upset. Don't you want to have a grandson? Son Qingni has given you a grandson, who is already 4 years old. Grandson? Mother Xia's eyes lit up. Is there really a grandson? Father Xia nodded. Mother Xia was happy, and she could definitely accept Su Qingni just because of the grandson. She is so lucky, she got it right the first time. Mother Xia muttered, and asked Father Xia, how does my grandson look? Is he cute? Did Su Qingni take good care of my grandson? Father Xia, I haven't seen my grandson yet, but Boyi and Su Qingni will bring the child home later. Mother Xia stood up immediately after hearing this and walked towards the kitchen. I'll ask Aunt Zhang to cook some dishes that the child likes. Su Qingni stood at the door of the Xia family holding her child, feeling a lot of emotions. She grew up in the Xia family from childhood to adulthood, but she only entered and exited the Xia family as a servant's daughter. Now she can enter the Xia family as the future mistress of the Xia family. It can be said that things in the world are unpredictable. Let's go in. Xiaobui took the child from Su Qingxi's arms and held Su Qingxi's hand with his other hand. Su Qingxi said, "I'm a little scared." She was afraid that Mother Xia would not accept her. She still remembered how Mother Xia looked at her with contempt before she went abroad. Xiaobui comforted Su Qingxi, "Don't be afraid, we have Dad's support, and Mom won't object anymore. We have Lele, and you have shares in Xiatian Group, so you are confident. What is there to be afraid of?" Xiaobui's words were the same as Su Qingni's words to comfort Su Qingxi before she left. Su Qingxi took a deep breath, calmed down, and smiled at Xiaobui. "Let's go." The family of three entered the gate of the Xia family. Su Qingxi has shares in the Xia family company. Xia's father and Xiaobui's younger brother and sister value interests, so they naturally treat Su Qingxi very well. Xia's mother doesn't like Su Qingxi, but she likes Lele, her golden grandson, very much. The little guy is so lovable that she quickly won over Xia's mother, a middle-aged woman who is eager for a grandson. For the sake of her precious grandson, Xia's mother's attitude towards Su Qingxi has become much better. Xiaobui wanted to marry Su Qingxi as soon as possible. Xia's father saw the shares and Xia's mother saw the grandson and had no objection, so Xiaobui set a time for the two parents to meet to discuss the marriage of Su Qingxi and Xiaobui. After meeting, Xia's mother and Su's father and mother were a little uncomfortable, but Xia's father was thick-skinned and chatted happily with Su's father. Su's father was as honest as his name suggested. He could end a topic with just one sentence. So Xia's father chatted with Su Qingni. In order to support her sister, Su Qingni revealed some of her shares in several multinational groups. Xia's father's eyes lit up when he heard it. It turned out that the most powerful person in the Su family was this little girl in front of him. Xia's mother and Xiaobui's brothers and sisters also lit up when they heard the assets revealed by Su Qingni. The remaining reluctance in Xia's mother's heart also disappeared. So, having money is really important. The so-called talent and strength, without seeing the actual benefits, are still not as good as interests. The marriage was discussed smoothly. Su's father and Su's mother didn't have much money, but they also prepared a dowry for Su Qingxi very carefully. They bought a shop for Su Qingxi and spent all the money they earned in the past 5 years. Su Qingxi was rich. Su Qingni invested in her. Although her wealth was not as good as her sister's, she was also a local tycoon worth tens of millions of dollars. Most of her dowry was arranged by herself. The luxury cars, villas and jewelry made those who looked down on her background shut up when they showed it. Father Xiao also told others about Su Qingni's holding of company shares, and other people would not say anything, but began to please Su Qingni. It is the same in every era to laugh at the poor but not at prostitutes. The wedding of the two was grand. Su Qingni recognized all the people in the upper circles of City A at this wedding. Su Qingni did not hide her past, so her details were known to the upper circles of City A, and they all warmly welcomed her to join this circle. Su Qingni therefore expanded a lot of connections. If Su Qingni wanted to continue to mix in the business circle, these connections would be a rare wealth. Unfortunately, Su Qingxi was already married. Su Qingni felt that she had enough money in her hands and wanted to enjoy herself, and did not want to work hard anymore. Su Qingni then lived a life like a parasite, and even her father and mother could not stand it any longer. Chapter 1048 The Servant's Daughter 13. Su's father and mother couldn't stand Su Qingni's life of parasites, so they started to arrange blind dates for Su Qingni. Blind dates. Have you ever experienced blind dates in other worlds? Su Qingni pinched her chin and thought. Su's father and mother didn't care about Su Qingni's reaction. They stuffed an address into Su Qingni's pocket and drove them out of the house. Su Qingni. Forget it, let's go and take a look, to deal with Su's father and mother. Su Qingni slowly came to the blind date location. This is a high-end coffee shop. The blind date partner is not an ordinary person. He was introduced by Xiaobui's relationship. He is also a child from a wealthy family. After returning from studying abroad, he took over his own company and had more say in the company than Xiaobui. Xiaobui is only the second in command in Xiaxian Group, and the power is still in the hands of Xia's father. This man named Li Chenjiao is the real president. The family company is completely controlled by him, and his parents have given him all the power. Perhaps because his life has been too smooth, This person has a more arrogant temperament. Although he is polite when talking to people, he is condescending. Li Chenjiao's attitude towards Su Qingni was very perfunctory. It seemed that this man did not come for a blind date voluntarily. But no one was here voluntarily, so why do you have an expression that says don't even think about using my parents' relationship to force me to submit and accept you? This man must have been spoiled by women, thinking that any young woman would like him. But he does have the capital to be spoiled by women. How could a woman not like a young, handsome and wealthy president? They kept throwing themselves at him. But this man is quite self-disciplined. Even if a woman took the initiative to seduce him, he would not respond. It was precisely because of this that Xiaobui introduced the man to his sister-in-law. Like those playboys, he would never bring anyone to his sister-in-law. Li Chenjiao didn't talk much, and Su Qingni was too lazy to talk either. She didn't have the hobby of spoiling men, except for her Taai. The atmosphere between the two was very cold. "Two guests, here's the coffee you ordered." A soft and pleasant voice sounded, and a young and beautiful waiter came over with a tray. The waiter placed the coffee that Su Qingni had ordered in front of her, and brought another cup of coffee to put in front of Li Chenjiao. The waiter turned his head to look at the male guest, and when his eyes touched the male guest's face, he uttered a small cry of surprise, and the coffee cup in his hand fell from his hand. The cup was not broken, but all the coffee inside spilled out and splashed on Li Chenjiao's clothes. Li Chenjiao couldn't help but get angry, and looked up and was about to scold the waiter, but when he saw the waiter's face, he couldn't say the scolding. "Are you Xiaofan?" Li Chenjiao called the waiter's name. Su Qingni looked at the two of them. Is this a bloody plot being played out in front of her? It can't be the story of a domineering president and Cinderella, right? It is, but the heroine doesn't seem to be the girl's Xiaofan in front of her. "Li Chenjiao, my sister only has you in her heart, and she thinks about you every day despite the pain. What about you? You are on a blind date with a beautiful girl. Don't you think about my sister at all?" Xiaofan yelled. "What? Xiaofan is sick? Why didn't she tell me?" Li Chenjiao was shocked, and then his face showed an extremely heartbroken look. "No wonder she suddenly wanted to break up with me. It turned out to be because of illness. How could she be so stupid?" Su Qingni understood. This kind of plot was common in Korean dramas many years ago. A man-woman suddenly became seriously ill and was about to die. He didn't want his lover to be sad, so he broke up with his lover. Later, the lover knew the truth and hurried to find that person. There are two endings for this plot. The first is that the patient died in the arms of the lover and became the white moonlight that the lover could never forget. Later, when the lover met the male-female protagonist in his life, he would always be entangled between the white moonlight and the protagonist, and a series of heart-wrenching things happened. In the end, the lover figured it out, let go of the white moonlight, and lived a loving life with his protagonist. The second is that the patient's illness was cured, and then he came back happily to find his lover, but found that the lover had already liked someone else. So the patient became the villain, causing trouble for the lover and his lover, which made the lover and his lover even more loyal, and the patient finally left sadly. Which one is Li Chenjiao and the girl he likes? Anyway, it is impossible for her to be Li Chenjiao's lover. Su Qingni stood up, picked up her bag, smiled and said to the two of them, "Since you know each other, sit down and have a good chat. I won't disturb you. I'm leaving first." Li Chenjiao nodded to Su Qingni and said, "Thank you." He didn't ask her to stay. Su Qingni walked towards the door. Before she reached the door was pushed open from the outside and three people walked in. One of the two people who walked to the front looked familiar. Su Qingni thought about it and knew who it was. Isn't this the second male lead in the movie she watched on the plane on the day she returned to China, the young handsome man named Li Yuanming? No wonder he was wearing sunglasses on a cloudy day. Su Qingni's eyes followed Li Yuanming to an empty table. Li Yuanming sat down on the chair, took off his sunglasses, and a pair of beautiful eyes were exposed, so that Su Qingni could see his eyes clearly. Su Qingni's eyes flashed, and a smile hung on the corner of her mouth. Found it. She glanced at the agent and assistant beside Li Yuanming, did not walk forward, and turned away. As soon as Li Yuanming entered the coffee shop, he felt a very oppressive gaze. Even though he was used to being stared at, this gaze made Li Yuanming have to pay attention. After he sat down in the coffee shop, he followed a line of sight and saw a back turning away. It was the back of a young girl, slender and slim, similar to the backs of many girls, but for some reason it left a very deep impression on Li Yuanming. "What are you looking at?" The agent asked Li Yuanmeng. Nothing. Li Yuanmeng retracted his gaze. The agent started to get to the point. Zhu Shuru's agent contacted me and wanted to jointly promote with you. What do you think? Turn it off. I don't want to cause a scandal. Li Yuanmeng said. He only cares about acting, doesn't like negative things like gossip, and doesn't want to be associated with any female star's name. Do you want to reconsider? The agent said. Li Yuanmeng is a very easy artist to manage. He has no bad habits and doesn't make trouble. He doesn't like gossip, which makes her very happy. But it's not easy to become popular like this. Look at other stars. They are on the headlines every day, whether it's good news or bad news, but at least they are known to the public. If they become popular, they will have more traffic, and they can take more advertisements and make more money. Chapter 1049 The Servant's Daughter's Eve. As for our own artist, he lives like an old cadre. No wonder he is still only a third-tier star after 4 or 5 years in this circle. With his appearance and acting skills, as long as he's a little more active, he would have been promoted to the first tier long ago, right? Agent Zhang Zhuan's face looked a little bad. Li Yuanmeng saw Zhang Zhuan's face and pretended not to see it, but sighed in his heart. When did Sister Zhang change? At the beginning, Sister Zhang and himself had agreed that the two of them would work hard together and work steadily to strive for him to win the title of Best Actor, and Sister Zhang would become a gold medal agent. Unfortunately, the glitz of the entertainment industry still changed Sister Zhang. Li Yuanmeng did not agree to have a scandal with other female stars, but the scandal between him and Zhu Shuru was still flying all over the sky. Zhu Shuru and Li Yuanmeng are in the same company and are also third-tier stars like Li Yuanmeng. Li Yuanmeng couldn't figure it out. They are both of the same status, why do they have to get together? Wouldn't it be better for Zhu Shuru to pull a second-tier or first-tier star? That would be more popular, right? Soon after, Li Yuanmeng knew why Zhu Shuru was looking for him. Because she didn't dare to offend first and second-tier stars, and fourth and fifth-tier stars were not famous enough, so she would only look at him, right? A few days after the scandal between Li Yuanmeng and Zhu Shuru broke out, Zhu Shuru posted a specious statement on her Weibo, vaguely accusing Li Yuanmeng of being a scumbag and cheating on her feelings. Then another kind-hearted passerby posted a photo of Li Yuanmeng and another woman in an intimate way. This time, Li Yuanmeng's identity as a scumbag was confirmed, and there was a lot of scolding on the internet. Zhu Shuru became the object of everyone's sympathy, and her popularity increased a lot. She entered the ranks of second-tier stars and received invitations to several dramas. Li Yuanmeng was naturally angry about Zhu Shuru's behavior of stepping on him to get to the top, and he was even more angry about Zhang Zhuan's betrayal. The intimate photo with another woman was taken by borrowing a position, and the only person who could take the photo at that angle was Zhang Zhuan, who was following behind Li Yuanmeng at the time. Moreover, he has been scolded by the whole network since the scandal broke out, but the company's external publicity department has not come forward to help him dispel the rumors and solve the problem. What does this mean? It means that the publicity department has been blocked. The only person who can prevent them from taking action is the artist's agent, except for the company leaders. Li Yuanmeng didn't know how much money Zhang Zhuan received from Zhu Shuru, so that she could destroy herself so cruelly. Su Qingni saw the news on the internet and felt unhappy. Who is Zhu Shuru? Is she as beautiful as herself? Su Qingni immediately turned on the computer, and her fingers flew, and all the information of Zhu Shuru appeared on the screen. Seeing the innocent and beautiful face on the screen, Su Qingni curled her lips. There were traces of surgery on the bridge of the nose, chin and eyelids. The traces of artificial carving were obvious. Are the problems with the eyes of her fans? Call this kind of artificial oxygen beauty pure goddess? Looking at the entanglement between Zhu Shuru and Li Yuanmeng, Su Qingni quickly found out the truth. Su Qingni wanted to put the truth on the internet, but saw the news that Li Yuanmeng was about to terminate the contract with the company. After further investigation, it turned out that the agent betrayed the artist. His company was not a good one. They thought that Li Yuanmeng's reputation was bad and he was not worth much, so they followed the agent's advice and abandoned this artist. Li Yuanmeng originally had a 2-year contract with the company. The company wanted to hide him, so he proposed to terminate the contract. The company asked Li Yuanmeng to pay a high amount of liquidated damages. Li Yuanmeng felt that the amount was too much, so he hired a lawyer to argue with the company. The lawyer was very good and had negotiated the original liquidated damages of 20 million to 2 million. Seeing this, Su Qingni decided to postpone posting the truth on the internet. Lest Li Yuanmeng be whitewashed, his company would not want to let him go, and continue to keep him to exploit him. What should I do? Li Yuanmeng must leave, so wouldn't the amount of liquidated damages have to go up again? Let's wait a little longer. Su Qingni pinched her chin. Should she open an entertainment company? If she pulled people to her own entertainment company, wouldn't she be able to get the moon first and get the people to her own bowl in the future? That's it. Su Qingni immediately took out her cell phone and made a call. Qingni, what do you want to talk to me about? Xiaoboi's voice came from the phone. Brother-in-law, doesn't Xiaoyan Group have an entertainment company? Can you sell it to me? Su Qingni asked. Xiaoboi, why do you want to buy an entertainment company? Su Qingni, I have my eyes on a star and want to support him. Xiaoboi, little end, don't joke. It was not a joke. But Su Qingni didn't say it out loud, just said, just tell me whether you want to sell it or not. Xiaoboi, what do you want to sell? We are family, so we don't talk about buying and selling. This entertainment company is given to you. No, it's too valuable as a gift. Su Qingni refused. Xiaoboi, the 20% of shares you gave to your sister is not worth more. And this entertainment company is just a small company, with less than 20 artists, no first-tier ones, and very few second and third-tier ones. It's really not worth much? Okay, then thank you, brother-in-law. Su Qingni didn't refuse and accepted Xiaoboi's kindness. This entertainment company is called Midsummer Night. It is really a small company as Xiaoboi said. However, small companies have their advantages. Employees and artists are not qualified to be involved in some turbid areas of the entertainment industry and have not been infected with too many bad habits. Although there are artists who are dependent on financial sponsors, this is voluntary and Su Qingni will not interfere. Su Qingni was busy rectifying the company. The termination of Li Yuanmeng's contract was finally over, and Li Yuanmeng became a free man. However, before Su Qingni could tell the truth, Zhu Shiru and Zhang Zhuan's calculation of Li Yuanmeng had been exposed on the internet. There is no shortage of masters on the internet. And Li Yuanmeng has many fans. These fans are not like those fans of traffic stars, who are easily misled by the language on the internet. These are rational fans. They like Li Yuanmeng for his acting skills and understand Li Yuanmeng's character. They believe that Li Yuanmeng is definitely not the scumbag in Zhu Shiru's mouth. Before, the whole network scolded Li Yuanmeng. Their number was much smaller than those who scolded, and their remarks were quickly drowned in the scolding. Now that some time has passed and fewer people have mentioned this incident, Li Yuanmeng's fans have posted the clues they found to restore the truth on the internet. As a result, the internet's wind direction has changed, and many people apologized to Li Yuanmeng and began to call Zhu Shiru a green tea woman. Some netizens also got Zhu Shiru's photos from many years ago, compared them with her current photos, and pointed out the places where Zhu Shiru had plastic surgery. Zhu Shiru's reputation has become even worse. Chapter 1050 The Servant's Daughter 15. However, no matter how bad a reputation is, as long as she is beautiful, there will still be men who will help Zhu Shiru. These men are greedy for Zhu Shiru's youth and beauty, but they will not marry her home. They casually agree to Zhu Shiru's request and help her deal with an enemy. And they have found out clearly that the little star named Li Yuanmeng is an orphan and has no background. Even if he is taught a lesson, no one will help him. Zhu Shiru's sponsor did not start from the internet. After all, Li Yuanmeng has been clean once. Now he is making up black material to discredit Li Yuanmeng, and netizens do not believe it. This man has a dirty background, and his methods are vicious. There are many thugs under his command. So when Su Qingni reorganized the company and wanted to find Li Yuanmeng to sign a contract with her company, she got the news that Li Yuanmeng had a car accident. Although he did not die, his face was disfigured and his legs were broken. Li Yuanmeng's deposits were all paid to the original company as liquidated damages. He had no money in his hands, and the hospital could only give him basic treatment. His face was bound to be left with scars, ruining a good face. The leg will also leave sequelae, and he will become a cripple in the future unless he undergoes another operation. But whether it is plastic surgery or leg surgery, it will cost a lot of money. For Li Yuanmeng, who is now extremely poor, it is a foolish dream to want to come up with so much money. Although the entertainment industry is very profitable, Where can Li Yuanmeng find a job now that he is disfigured and has a broken leg? Even some unscrupulous programs will not invite Li Yuanmeng, for fear that the audience will be scared and no one will watch their programs anymore. Su Qingni was heartbroken when she saw the news, and immediately drove to find Li Yuanmeng. Li Yuanmeng lives in a small 2-bedroom house. Although he has made a lot of money over the years, half of it was given to the orphanage where he was born. Here I would like to mention that Zhang Zhuan and Li Yuanmeng came from the same orphanage, so Li Yuanmeng would trust Zhang Zhuan so much. The remaining half was used to buy such a small 2-bedroom house, and the rest was compensated to the original company. Now Li Yuanmeng has less than 100,000 yuan in savings. Since he was discharged from the hospital, Li Yuanmeng has been staying in his house and has never come out again. It seems that the blow is too great, and he doesn't want to see anyone. Fortunately, there is a takeaway guy who delivers food to the door every day, so the person in the room will not starve to death. Su Qingni stood in front of the door and knocked. There was no response from the door. Su Qingni sensed that the person inside was reading in the room, but just didn't want to answer the door. This mentality is not bad. Su Qingni let go of her worries a little. She is worthy of being Tai's reincarnation. Su Qingni continued to knock on the door. If the person inside did not answer, she would not give up. Compare patience and see who can beat who. In this way, Su Qingni knocked on the door for more than 2 hours. Although the person in the room did not answer the door, he could not concentrate on reading. In the end, the person inside compromised, and a hoarse question came from the door, "What's the matter?" Su Qingni slightly raised the corners of her lips and replied, "I am Su Qingni, the president of Midsummer Night Entertainment Company. I would like to invite Mr. Li to join Midsummer Night Company." The door was opened, and a face with half of it burned appeared in Su Qingni's sight. That face is really scary. If it is at night, it will scare people to have a heart attack. Li Yuanmeng said, "Seeing my face, you still want me to join your company?" Su Qingni smiled slightly, "Yes." Li Yuanmeng frowned. The woman in front of him was not afraid of him, which made him feel a little relieved. But then he thought of the woman's background. Why did he join the entertainment company? Use his face to act in a ghost movie? If so, should he refuse? Li Yuanmeng hesitated. He went out to the society after graduating from high school, but because his first job was to be an extra in a film and television city, he was immersed in the ranks of acting, so he had no other work skills except acting. Although there are many jobs that do not require skills now, such as moving bricks at the construction site or delivering takeout or express delivery. With his face, delivering takeout and express delivery will scare customers to death. Moving bricks. He was unwilling, it was hard and tiring, and he couldn't make much money a day. He could support his family, but he didn't have extra money to give to the hospital. Then the woman in front of him said, "I have an ointment for treating burns that was passed down from my ancestors. It can treat the wound on your face. I can also send you abroad to have skin grafts to treat your legs. When you recover, help me make money. Is there such a good thing?" Li Yuanmeng stared at the woman's eyes and found that her eyes were firm with kindness and a little bit of pity. This person really came to help him. Why? Li Yuanmeng's voice choked. Since he was disfigured, he has received a lot of kindness and pity, but these kindness and pity are only superficial, while the woman in front of him discovered the inner heart, as if he was a very precious treasure in her eyes. Su Qingni smiled, "Because I like you." Li Yuanmeng. The half of Li Yuanmeng's face that was not injured suddenly turned red. Su Qingni said, "I really like you, I want you to be my boyfriend, are you willing?" "No." Li Yuanmeng spit out 3 words. He has a different view of the woman in front of him than other women. Hearing the woman's words, he was moved and he wanted to agree to the woman. But thinking of his current appearance, Li Yuanmeng still refused. He was not worthy of such a good girl now. Su Qingni shrugged her shoulders, and she knew that Li Yuanmeng would not agree. She could guess what Li Yuanmeng was thinking. Su Qingni said, "If you don't want to be my boyfriend, you can always be my artist, right? But my face and legs, it can be cured. The cost is too high. Your acting skills are enough to pay for the cost. With your acting skills, as long as there is a good script, you will be the best actor. As long as you become the best actor, you can bring more benefits to the company." Perhaps Su Qingni's prospects were too bright, or perhaps because of the unusual feelings for the woman in front of him, Li Yuanmeng finally agreed to Su Qingni's request. Su Qingni immediately took out a contract. 20 years. Li Yuanming frowned when he saw the date. The terms in the contract are very lenient for the artist. Not only is the artist and the company's share of the share very favorable to the artist, but it also states that a company will not force the artist to take jobs he doesn't want to take, and will not require the artist to attend social gatherings. Such a contract is even better than the contracts between big entertainment companies and top artists. But the 20-year clause made Li Yuanming hesitate. 20 years. This time is too long. Su Qingni smiled slightly. If possible, I would like to sign you for life. Li Yuanming's face turned red again. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.